Let's go! Who's up next?
Greetings, Internet, and welcome back to the Xbox Empire podcast, part of the Play Some Video Games network of podcasts. My name is Donnie. That's Sean Capri.
What?
You'll notice that Elaine is not here tonight. She unfortunately could not make the show, but we had a stand-in. And Sean, before we get into anything, Dana wants to know, why is the little kid in Jurassic Park so damn annoying?
Honestly.
Could you tolerate that kind of kid who idolizes you? While you're just there to check out some awesome dinosaurs?
Yeah, no, I would have thrown, if I were Jeff Goldblum, I would have taken the flare and I would have thrown it right at that kid. So either the flare does some serious damage to the child, or, you know, the Tyrannosaurus follows the flare to
I
then
kind of
go
cheered
eat
and
the
laughed when they
child.
got electrocuted. I think everybody did, didn't they?
He does get pretty hurt. He's climbing up there, doesn't even know it's coming, and then bam!
He's got this limp going and everything. Like the kid's the kid's barely hanging on. Like he really takes it on the chin in that movie.
Mm-hmm. You know, he's a pretty tough kid, though. It's the sister that you're just like, okay, enough, sister.
He's
the older
he's a
sister.
Smart kid too. He knows all their names, knows all their things, like their real names too, not like their schoolyard names. You know, like
right.
Sharptooth.
Yeah, he knows
Spike.
the Latinus. Yeah. He knows all of it. It's good stuff. It's not like that ignorant kid at the start. He's like, it looks like a turkey to me. Oh, really?
Nobody likes a know-it-all, little Johnny.
Nobody likes to know it
Whatever
all.
his name was. I don't know.
Yeah.
His name was Timmy.
I don't know.
Tim?
He looked like he looked like an extra from The Sandlot. That
Yeah,
kid.
he does. He does kind of fit
Like he's
into that
probably
Sandlot
from something
mold.
else. Mm-hmm.
Well, we're here to talk about Xbox and
Oh, okay.
the latest, even though that's not what we really do on the show anyway.
No.
So, Sean, we kick off this show each and every week talking a little bit about what we've been playing. What have you been playing? What you up to?
I've been playing a violin in sadness for the end of this show.
For this
Donnie.
show?
Yeah, I'm glad to go. Thank you for inviting me on this sinking ship.
It's The Last Dance, man.
Appreciate it. It's very actually that's a great way to reference it. Do I have one arm? Does it look like I have one arm, Justy Pickles? What have I been playing? I've been playing something that I'll be chatting about next week, pretty soon. But Hades, dude, Hades. Did
Yeah.
you play Hades? Did you try it?
I did a year
I
ago
heard you
when the
talk-
rest of the world did.
Sure. Okay, so Ryan and I were chatting about this on the Xbox Drive earlier today, and he's like, "It's not for me," and I'm like, "I get that, but like, let me like wax poetic about this
Oh, it's
game
real
a
good.
little
It's,
bit."
it's also not
It's
for me.
so good.
But
Damn
I
it, you
also, but
two
here's the
are
thing.
great.
I also agree that it's excellent. Like it's quite superb.
Yeah.
So there's the
yeah.
difference between me and like how I felt about what's
The Ascent.
Dead Cells.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody
Mhm.
loved Dead Cells, and I wasn't that enamored with Dead Cells. Whereas I think Hades is far, far better than Dead Cells.
Yeah.
Both still not for me. Like these types of games just are not for me. But that doesn't like I had Hades on my Game of the Year list. Probably not as high as most people, but I
Yeah.
still game recognizes game.
Yeah. Well, now it's on Game Pass day one. Right, like it's also on PlayStation, but like
It should have been
Game Pass.
hilarious if they were like Game Pass Day 365.
Seriously. Yeah, exactly.
Day 365 on
It's
Game
been around
Pass.
It is a weird one. You're right. It is kind of a funny one to say, like available on day one. You're like, but this was literally on
widely
the
available,
Game
that's why.
Awards. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Is it? Here's the thing. Does it even count? Does it even count for this year's Game Awards? Like, is it just
That's a
old
good
game?
question. I don't think so. I think it's an old game.
And see, like that doesn't make any. Yeah, I don't want to get
I don't
into
know.
the minutia of the Game Awards, but I have issues like this with the Game Awards.
Are you guys going to do like anything like that on Play Some Video Games, the podcast, a new podcast that is available? Everybody should subscribe to it right now. Play Some Video Games
Play
on
Some Video
podcast
Games.
services around the world. Mhm.
Are we gonna do anything like a Game of the Year show? Probably.
Yeah. Because I give you a lot of credit often for many things, but especially the idea of the Game Pass Game of the Year. In which case, this
Sure.
would be absolutely eligible for that.
Yes.
But, like,
absolutely.
I don't know necessarily if it would be the Game Pass Game of the Year. I guess that time will tell on that front. But that's a good
question.
kind of consolidation. That's not the word. Consolation. That's the
Yeah.
word I'm looking for.
I wish the Game Awards would have the Game Pass Game of the Year. Like
Yeah.
that's a legit category.
Presented by Play Some Video Games.
Presented by PlayStation.
No.
Well, what
Presented by PlayStation.
what if the show won?
Yeah, MLB The Show. That's exactly it. Like, it's been a good year for that.
We'd like
That's
to
hilarious.
welcome Sean Layden up to the stage to accept the
Oh my
award for
God.
Game Pass Game of the Year.
Can you imagine? We have a very twisted sense of what we want out of video games these days, Donnie.
Sometimes, get a little cynical
Yeah.
online sometimes. Yeah, kind of works.
I'm bouncing around though. I'm into Hades. I'm into Death's Door. I'm into The Ascent.
You gotta
I'm
play
into...
Death's Door, man. You gotta stop the Ascent and play more Death's Door.
I think I've mostly stopped. I think Hades, like I've kind of prioritizing. Everything kind of shifts around a
Donnie and
little bit. I think-
Dev's Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Death's
yeah.
Door.
we're- Yeah.
Secret.
Yeah. I got to get a little further
the
into it.
game that kicks off Play Some Video Games each and every week. Death's Door.
The little video intro.
Spoilers. Look for that.
Yeah. Twitch.tv/PSVG. I like it.
Well,
Yeah.
speaking of Play Some Video Games, Delvin wants to know how excited are both of you to soon be recording a weekly podcast with a man as handsome as Delvin Cox. I bet
Wow.
he smells like happiness. He wrote that to me and Elaine last week, and we didn't touch it. What do you think, Sean? How excited
Well,
are you for us to be podcasting with Delvin Cox?
For how excited am I for you for
For us.
I'm not for clarity.
No.
I'm not podcasting with
Are
Delvin
you?
Cox. How excited?
You
No, I
can?
don't think so.
No, we could
That'd be
just
great.
free agent.
I think he smells.
Sean Capri is all
Capri.
elite. He's all Play Some
Yeah.
Video Games.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, you guys need you know that you've been waiting to launch a podcast with at least 5 people on it. So happy to
Oh, yeah.
add to the noise. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How will you ever fill enough space? How will you ever fill an hour or 2 hours with
Right.
just the 4 of you? You know,
It's more like
You
how
don't
will
really
we
have
ever
enough
not
room.
do 4 hours?
honestly, you might have to you're just gonna book it like an all day thing in your calendar and go it's
Well,
just
see,
a
here's the
placeholder.
thing. Here's how I look at it: is we record until whenever we're done, and then we basically just cut it into like 60-minute chunks and release it every day of the week.
Honestly, that's a good idea. I actually really like that.
It's like here's part 1, part 2, part 3.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that sounds like something that Kind of Funny has done in the past. They would just chop up each topic and just do it on YouTube and stuff, which is hilarious to think that like an hour video is the digestible version
Yes.
of it. You know, it's
course.
still a gigantic amount
Well,
of
if
content.
you've ever heard my rants, then
Yeah.
you know that that's usually the case.
Well, we podcast when the thing is, I know how this is going to go because Sweet Hangs, the podcast we do on the side,
Sure.
we don't really have we have a hard out in an hour. We don't
We don't
really
have
do
anything.
that. We don't.
We have zero
Yeah.
plans. We have no
Yeah.
script, no bullets, no notes, no nothing.
Yeah.
Half the
Amazing.
time, we don't even have a topic. We literally
Honestly?
just hit start.
Makes me wonder why on any show you do that at all.
Well,
Clearly, we can just do it without it.
to stop it from being what this show has already been for the first 9 minutes. That's
Well,
why,
I mean,
Sean.
the other thing that it could be, Donnie, and I don't know if you've ever wanted to try this, is go into a show without any notes or anything and just sort of like look it up as you go along. You're like, what is
melting.
in the news right now?
No, I've done that. I don't like that space, but I've done that before for
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, you
So,
could.
so Hades.
You have options. Hades. Man, what else is there? Crap. What are you playing? What else am I playing?
Okay, hang on. I'm gonna put a hat on.
You're putting on more layers as you're sweating here.
Dude,
and I'm not
I'm
sure
so
if this
hot.
is
You
such
know
a
why.
good
The
idea.
listeners don't know why. We gotta keep it
Yeah.
PG for the crowd. But I'm sweltering right now. It was a rush.
I sent Donnie some pictures. I sent
it
Donnie
was
some
a
racy
rush
pictures.
to get here. Dev, I know you're in the chat or listening. It had champagne. Champagne was involved. So
Campaign, yeah.
Dev
Oh,
probably knows what
Hellblade. I played Hellblade, Donnie.
Ooh,
I
now
played
we're
Hellblade.
talking,
I'm
Sean.
a couple chapters in. This is man. I'm a little overloaded with
You played
everything.
it before though, right?
I played on PC, and I'm
Okay.
about where I'm at now. I'm just about to get further than I was before, which
never
is
beat
to
it?
say not very far. I never even got halfway before because I was playing. Here's the thing, man. Every time and Dev's in the chat, he's gonna hate me for saying this, but I play games sometimes on my PC, and then I just sort of stop because I don't want to be here in front of my PC. I
love this.
podcast here. I
love
am.
this.
It sucks. Well, then I don't love it because I have a really capable PC. I am just now I have
doesn't
reached
matter.
Megadesk status. I've got all the monitors.
Right.
I've got everything I need.
But
I've
they're
got my
for
keyboard
your
and everything.
consoles, as they should
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So, and I guess I somewhere along the lines knew that it was coming to Xbox in a enhanced way, and now it's finally there. And I always like when they do this.
Well, it was enhanced
There's a new
before.
patch,
And
right?
now it's more enhanced.
Series. It's enhanced squared. Yeah.
Enhanced, yeah, to the next power.
Right. Yeah. It's exponentially enhanced. Yeah. So I jumped on that. I often do that whenever there's a patch of some sort. I
course.
at least go check it out. I did the same thing with Doom Eternal about a month ago or whatever that was, but I'd never played this one before. It's not like I'm replaying it like I did with Doom, which I should really. I should keep going with that.
Yeah.
Doom is a game though that I can't go in and just go like I'm just gonna go for a quick romp. Like those levels are 90 minutes.
Yeah, they
you
take
know,
a
like
while.
they're especially if you want to do
They're
all of it, which I
expeditions.
do. Yeah, like and there's lots of things to collect, which I tend to do that sort of
Go
thing.
places.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, you know that Hellblade has a very soft spot in my heart.
I do,
It's
I do,
a big,
and I've
big
been
reason why I was so happy to like swing back Xbox's way so hard was the addition of Hellblade and Ninja Theory to the first party.
Unreal, because I remember the days listening to it actually would have been Podcast Beyond back in those days where it was like that was a PlayStation exclusive. I'm like,
was.
damn, people are really talking highly about this game, and I'm kind of jealous.
I played it and beat it on PlayStation. Then I played and beat it on Xbox One. Then I played and beat it when it was Xbox One X enhanced. Then I played and beat it when I got my Series X.
Oh,
I beat it before they released this. I beat this game like 2 months ago.
You're such a real gamer, Donnie.
That's not a
Holy
real game.
cow.
No, I just really like that game. I think most
It's a
people would
good
say
game.
the opposite because that game is really a glorified walking simulator.
Honestly, yeah, that is it. The combat is not as terrifying. This basically after the second encounter, you're
It's
pretty much
very-
good. You
Elaine
understand.
and I put it. It's very scripted. It's very choreographed combat.
Yep. Good, but the parry feels good. Like that's the thing is like you block
looks
it. It's got
awesome.
that nice slow mo, like and you just go to town on the dude.
And the game
Yeah, that's
looks
really good.
amazing. It looked amazing when it first came out, and it looks even better
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. So that's one thing that I will say too. I played Call of Duty. This is out of nowhere. Played Call of Duty with neighbor Matt was over. We played side by side.
Infinite
That was
Warfare.
on my Series X. What was it called?
Infinite Warfare.
No, we did not. We should have busted that out. We played Cold War, Blops Cold War. Side by side, I was on Series X, he was on Series S, and I have mentioned in the past that I thought that the Series S version was not so good. They were side by side, and they were looking good, man.
Yeah.
Series S played Call of Duty real nice, at least in multiplayer. Yeah.
Punches up.
Yeah, it was really good. So
I'm
just play
happy
a lot of games.
that the Swedish Hangs Legion stuck up for me in Infinite Warfare, and after we released it,
Oh,
we were
nice.
bombarded with Infinite Warfare screenshots.
Infinite Warfare is good.
and pics. Love that game.
Yeah, good stuff, man.
Okay, well, those are some good games you're playing, Sean.
Thanks.
I love.
What comic?
I like Hades. Ooh, I like that. I've never read
Yeah.
it, but I like it.
Me neither.
I've never read it.
I went to go get free comics at Comic Book Day, free Comic Book Day,
How
and
much
I'm
did that
like, I
cost?
guess this was, let's see, this was like 32.50, which is very
I
strange.
have the collection, the box set, in my wish list on Amazon, and it's like
Yeah.
$50. And I'm just kind of waiting for somebody to buy it for me as a gift.
Yeah, that'd be a great gift. That's a great gift.
You know,
There's a lot of them.
I kind of keep putting it at the top of my wish list, and every time a birthday or Christmas comes around, I'm like, come on, somebody just grab it. Just take it.
I'm a sucker. Like this is the Scott Pilgrim magma, hot liquid hot magma, and it's just a good like feeling book. I like the feel of this book.
Oh,
I don't.
yeah.
Everything
Like
is
the
digital
hardcover.
now. Yeah, this is really nice. You know, so it just brings back memories
I
of.
gotta get it. I gotta get it.
it's good.
I bought the damn special edition. I gotta have the books, I guess. Can you have the special edition of the game if you don't have the original media?
Yes,
allowed?
You can.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's all right.
Because I love the game before I ever watched the movie, and then I love the movie.
I never watched the movie, and I know
Oh,
you guys
that
made
is
Rebecca watch it. I know.
abhorrent.
I played the game, and when I opened the book, it's
It's
almost
the worst
like in my
thing
mind.
Rebecca's ever done in her entire life is say
Well, and
that
then
that
she didn't
movie
like it.
wasn't great.
Yeah, she didn't watch it, which was disappointing to you. Then she watched it, and she didn't enjoy it, which was probably worse.
It's like just
Too bad.
a stab through the heart.
You know those
I
like
thought we were
gimmicky
friends,
kind of like
me and her.
you know those greetings cards that you
is
you
why
open
I'm
up and
leaving
it plays a
Shaq.
song. Is this thing on?
This is why I'm leaving Shaq.
That's a slow burn on that
I
one.
can't take it
It was a
anymore.
while ago.
every Thursday night, I look in her face and I'm like, she doesn't love Scott Pilgrim and Ramona Flowers
disappointing.
as much as I do.
That's all you see when you look at her face.
I
Yeah,
can't take it. Can't take it.
pure disappointment.
Well, Sean, I played some Siege of Paris DLC in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I aptly turned it off.
Oh, shit.
Nope, did not like it. I played. That's a little harsh, but I played for about 2 hours, maybe 3. You know, I was getting into the groove. Here is something that I just can't take. So I'm playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the Viking simulator, and my Viking is a real Viking. We punch and throw axes first. We never ask questions later. I don't give an F about any of these people. And in the Siege of Paris
Mm-hmm.
DLC, they've turned my character into this diplomat who's going and playing both sides and trying to make the evil guys happy. He's like, please don't attack my home. I'll do anything you want. I'm like, what? F this dude right now in the face. You are 2 feet away from him. What the hell are you doing? And I don't think I can remember a game that made me feel so detached from the character that I've known and played as hard as this. Like, I'm playing a game and I'm like, you should have just given me a different NPC. Like, just let me play as a different character and I would have totally done this. Like, if I just took over a friend of Eivor's, you know, like maybe an apprentice or something, and this was their mission, I'm totally in on it. But the fact that my Eivor is doing this will not stand. I turned
And
it
like
off.
same age, it's not like a newborn, like 40 years have gone by of killing and no satisfaction, turning a new leaf kind of thing.
Nope, you're just like, hey,
it's a mess.
Eivor, you want to go to France? You're like, I do want to go to France. And you just go to France and then you start doing this stuff. And
When in Rome, I guess, you know what I mean?
I'm not here for it. It is bothering me. So I turned it off. I was like, I can't. I'm just not going to do this anymore.
What if
It's
you were
fine.
What if you're one mission away from burning everything down?
That's what I'm afraid of. Like, I'm waiting for somebody to tell me, like, just keep with it. And but I played it for like 2 or 3 hours. I feel like that's enough. You know, it's DLC for this game that I've already played for 100 hours. So I mean, like,
Have you seen the title screen? Is there a title screen for it? Because you know that's how like
Of
things
course.
like they like to do things in Assassin's Creed.
of course,
Yeah.
But
20 hours in, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Like what? It's a year later.
yeah, like 40 hours in, it's like prologue, chapter 1.
Yeah, like get it
Dear
right.
Lord. But it's fine. It's just, it's more Valhalla, right? You're doing the same stuff you've always done. So like the cutscenes in the story are kind of what I'm here for. I wanted to go burn Paris to the ground.
Yeah,
like
of
that's
course.
what I was here for. Like I think in the 900s, the Vikings did burn Paris to the ground. Like that's what I thought we were going to do, the siege of Paris. And I'm sure this is how this ends.
Sure.
But I don't want to spend 15 hours to get there if it's going to be like this.
Mm.
So 2 thumbs down for me on Siege of Paris.
Damn.
I
Yeah, we
loved
got to bring that back.
I loved Wrath of Druids, right? You know, everybody
Yeah.
knows that Wrath of Druids was my. Oh, I also don't have a love interest yet. Also not as cool.
Yeah.
Right? The Wrath
Especially in
of Druids, you get
France.
this mandolin playing red hair girl, you know, like kind of into
nice.
her. This, nothing.
Mm.
Nothing yet. So
Get some haptic feedback going on French kissing, you know?
with champagne, hot
Twirl the
tubs.
thumbstick a little bit. Mm-hmm.
So I played some NCAA 14 on my 360, and then,
Yeah, you did.
and then I popped over to Ghosts of Tsushima.
Nice.
I've been playing that this week.
It's a lot of open world, dude.
That's my jam. That's what I love. So I played a lot of that game this week over on my PlayStation 5, and I got through the first island, so I'm ready to play the DLC.
Nice.
So I'm probably going to play the DLC, and I imagine that's when I'll put it down, because it basically gives me like a week until No More Heroes comes out.
Oh, dude, there's
Yeah,
and
it's like
12 minutes comes out in about 12 minutes from now.
Yeah, I know. It's like 10 days from now.
Golly,
So
yeah.
I'm going to play some of this Ghost of Tsushima DLC. I'm not as in love with Ghost of Tsushima as Devin is, and that hurts
Sure.
his heart. I don't know why.
I get it.
Do you?
I
Explain
mean,
it to
I've
me.
never played. I mean, I just understand when you want somebody to like something that you like. Like,
That's
I get
true.
that.
That's
Like,
true.
I haven't. It's not specific to Ghost because I haven't played it.
Ghost of Tsushima is a great game. It is beautiful. Like, it is gorgeous. It's
Yeah.
really long. And what I mean by really long is it's really long without like really advancing a whole lot. I feel
Yeah.
like what I've just got to at this point in the game is like the first like really story progressing going forward, and I'm like 15 hours in.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
it's really just finally starting to move forward. I'm like, oh okay. It's fine. I'm just not that into samurai stuff. I think that's what it
Oh,
comes
that's
down
too
to.
bad.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not like this is interesting because it's not something that I never really thought about before. I never watched samurai movies or any of old shows or anything like that. I didn't know
Yeah.
who the Kurosawa person was, honestly, until this game came and there was the Kurosawa mode. Like, these are things that I was just never really...
I don't know what you're talking about at all.
So-
Is that a person?
Yeah, he made these old samurai films, I guess, and they're like
Could've
all
been
in
a
black
group.
and white and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So they have
Okay.
a whole mode where you can play this game in Kurosawa mode. And I didn't even know what that was until
Yeah.
this game came out.
Yeah.
And everybody started talking about it. So it's just, I think it was just one of those things I wasn't ever exposed to. So I don't want to say I don't like it. I'm just not like into it, right? Like I am
Right,
Vikings. In a lot of ways, this game is a lot like Valhalla. But one has a lot of Viking like mythology and the other one's samurai stuff. And I kind of like the Viking
Everybody's
stuff
been
more.
asking for an Assassin's Creed game set in
That's
feudal Japan.
That is
so-
exactly what Ghost of Tsushima is. It is
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed game.
Now they can do it. Now they have
Combat's
to wait.
fun. Combat's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good game. It's a good game.
Yeah, it's PlayStation. It's good stuff.
It is good stuff. It's not like God of War good, but it's good.
Never finished
So-
that one either. I know.
That
I don't know how
really
you do
hurts.
it. I don't know how you
That
do it.
really
Like
hurts.
you,
What do you- God of War is amazing.
I know. I just didn't
It's
get
so
finished
good.
with it.
And here's the thing, Sean. In all seriousness, and I'm not exaggerating, one of my favorite endings in a video game. You know, often I say you have a
Golly.
hard time ending a game or ending a movie.
Yeah.
This game nails it.
Ah.
God of War is an incredible way to send
Well,
off.
it's not happening anytime soon. You know, any minute now they're going to finish Cyberpunk, and I'll probably have to. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to play Cyberpunk.
We're going to talk about that here in a minute.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what I'm playing. I'm going to play some Tsushima. I'm going to play
Nice.
12 minutes tomorrow. I'm going to get into that.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Like,
Yeah.
I'm very excited about it. I have no idea what to expect.
Mhm,
Reviews on
mhm.
it are different.
all over the place.
Yeah, I saw some review score wrap-ups today on Twitter, and
Yeah.
somebody was giving it like a 40, and people are giving it 100. Like, it's going places.
When you see that happen, I feel like we need to like coin the phrase like this is like the game. That's Game Pass. Like, you know, scores like 9 plus 7 plus 5 plus 3 equals Game Pass. Like when you see that all over the place, you're just like, just play it on Game Pass, you know,
Sure.
because like who the hell cares?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
somebody liked it, and maybe somebody didn't. It didn't land for somebody else. I feel like that's
I've been
that's
interested
actually
in it
more intriguing.
Since the unveiling, but
Oh,
you know,
big
like,
time.
It's one of those things like the Ascent. It's like, how's the gameplay going to actually be when you put your hands on it? Because it looks.
How
great.
are you with? Yeah, how are you with like kind of like a point and click adventure?
I
like
love
because it.
I like those.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
more,
because
that's actually my kind of thing. I get into that quite a bit.
a lot of trial and error in this game. A
Yeah.
lot of like what's in the environment. What can you interact with to trigger the next whatever occurrence, next thing. You know, like is it the cop's going to come to the door? Are you going to lock the door? Are you going to block it? Are you going to hide in the room?
Yep.
Like all those types of things. That is really intriguing, but
Clock
I think
tower.
it also requires a lot from you. Like you have to think, you have to be patient, and you have to be willing to like mess it up and see what happens. You have to be open to that. So that's a pretty particular game. I'm interested to see how it pans out.
That was
You got
that was
you got
Clock
what?
Tower.
One more of these shows until you. So you have the last. Is next week the last show?
No.
Is this
we got-
it?
We got 3 more.
2
I
more?
think.
Oh, okay.
So it's this one next week, and then the week after.
Okay. So you just set the boat of fire, flame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So okay. So you
We're
still got some
rolling.
time.
We're still rolling.
Okay. Yeah.
Last
we'll run
dance.
to the back and it'll stand up on end like
Last
the Titanic.
chance for
Yeah.
love. Yeah.
Oh wow.
You get that?
Getting steamy in here.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, the Clock Tower is a lot like that, and I love that
Yeah.
game. It was one of my earliest games that I really took to, and I've played a lot of games that I think are point and click based. I actually sent Kev an indie game today that was announced for Xbox, and I was like, hey, if this comes across your like Xbox Indie Wire, like snag it for me,
Ooh.
because
Yeah.
because I don't think it doesn't have a date yet, but I
Which
like
one is it?
point and click stuff. I have to look in Discord to figure it out.
Let me know.
Yeah, I will.
We get the wire.
Let's see.
We get
here.
that. We get that email.
It's called Best Month Ever.
Best month ever. Okay.
It was
I'll write
announced
it down.
today.
I'll
Best
remember the
Month
name.
Ever. It's a point and click adventure game. And yeah, like Oxenfree is a point and click adventure game. Edith Finch is more like a walking sim, but it's got a lot of the similar type styles.
Yeah. Edith Finch is excellent.
Telltale stuff. Like, these are all my jam. I love these games.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Fair enough.
I think I'm going to be into it, and I understand why some people wouldn't be. Especially if you're I guess my only fear is if you're doing a lot of the same things and you're getting the same outcomes. Like if you do a loop and you die, and then you do something different in another loop and you just die again, and it's just like figure it out until you get it right.
Right.
That is frustrating. What you want is every time you do something different happens. You
Yeah.
still might die, but at least it's different. It's not the same thing over and over again.
Are the expectations higher or elevated for you at all, given the cast, like the voice cast, Willem
think so.
Dafoe? Is it Kristen Wiig? Is she in it? Who the heck else was it?
I don't
I can't remember. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah,
Willem
it's-
Dafoe was the most memorable one,
there's-
and I don't know
there's
why
several
Kristen Wiig
people.
would actually be in it. Yeah, maybe I'll do the PSVG thing, clickety clack on my keyboard.
Do that. So, getting into some news. Sean, Phil Spencer has
Daisy Ridley, I wasn't even close, and James
yeah,
McAvoy.
Star Wars.
So James McAvoy, holy
He's
crap!
awesome.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping the story holds up to the voice cast, because if it doesn't, that'll be let down.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Phil Spencer has a Steam Deck, Sean. Confirmed on
Yeah, he
Twitter
does.
in a tweet that said, after having mine most of the week, I can say it's a really nice device. Games with me on the go, screen size, controls are all great. Playing Halo and Age feels good. xCloud
age.
works well.
xCloud.
Congrats, Steam Deck team. So Ryan wants to know, do you think we can read anything more into Phil having a Steam Deck already? Could they be working together to make the Steam Deck the portable Xbox?
Was that Ryan Turford who said that?
No, different Ryan. This is
different Ryan.
I hope I'm doing. Is it Rian? I think is it Rian?
Oh yeah, like
Ryan?
Johnson, like Ryan Johnson spells his name like that.
Who's that?
The director of Star Wars 8.
Oh,
The guy who ruined it all.
Yeah,
He
that's
ruined everything.
awful. Okay, never
This
mind.
this Ryan is clearly much better.
Okay,
much
I
more
hope so.
talented. Yeah,
Watch
probably
it,
more
it's
handsome
like
too.
the same Ryan.
Same Ryan shit. Wait, what was the question?
He says, do you think we can read anything more into Phil having a Steam Deck early?
Yes.
Could
Read
they
it
be
into it
working with
100%.
Steam to make the Steam Deck a portable Xbox?
I'm here to set all the rumors afloat. Yeah, this is all
That's
happening.
what Xbox podcasters do, Sean. Have you
Yes.
listened to Xbox Era? That's all
I
they
sure
do.
have. Yeah, yeah. It's fun every once in a while just to jump on in, just
Reckless
total reckless
speculation.
abandon. Absolutely. Yes, they're working. They've been working together for a long time. There's connections, obviously, and there's a great. I can't remember what show. Gabe Newell was on some sort of show, and they were asking him like, "What do you think about the new Xbox or PlayStation? Which one's better?"
it's
and
better.
he couldn't even finish the question. He's like, "It's Xbox.
Yeah.
It's better. It's just better." So yes, they've been working together for a while now. This is not an accident. They weren't just like, "Hey, you want to come over and play my Steam Deck?" Like I was saying to Ryan today, Ryan Turford, like they don't just hang out. Like there was something going on there. Like they had to work out schedules and calendars to align. You know how hard it is to get busy people like that in the same room together. There's something happening, and it was more than check out our new device.
I mean, is
You
Valve
can check
nearby?
out any device.
Is Valve located nearby Redmond?
It's a good question. I don't
Because I
know.
know Gabe is in like the Philippines, right?
Like New Zealand, I
New
think.
Zealand. Yeah, he's so
Yeah.
Gabe didn't come over and give it to him, but somebody else did, right? Mm-hmm, You know, like the guy that's on the Steam Deck commercial. I'm not sure if you know this or other people know this, but he used to be in like the Nintendo Directs. He was like Nintendo's indie guy like 5 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe he brought it over to Phil.
Possibly. Kato's in the chat saying, of course, Sean is going to read into it, which would, of course, she's here as I dive into all speculation. The same week that we learned that, Game Pass is probably not coming to Switch, and I bought into that one big time. But
I
I'm
still
sure we'll
believe
get
Game
into that
Pass is
later.
coming to Switch.
Yeah, yes.
Okay,
yes.
so
Bland says they're both in Seattle.
oh yeah, okay, so yeah, they probably just walked this over to him. I'm not gonna read too
They met
much
at the
into
Starbucks.
that. I think that somebody will get native Game Pass running on a Steam Deck in short order. Now, whether or not Xbox gets to the point that they support it natively for the device in Linux, in the
Right.
Proton thing, that's what I'm hoping for, and I'm willing to bet that they'll try.
Yeah.
I think they'll try.
Yeah.
I've heard some horror stories on Reddit about Linux and Proton's compatibility with Windows stuff. So which makes me very, very nervous to like bet on it.
Yeah.
I've canceled my pre-order for the Steam Deck after I bought my laptop.
Oh, snap. Okay.
That doesn't mean that I'm not opposed to getting one if it runs the things that I want it to run, most notably native Game Pass downloads. Then I'll find
Download it.
I'll find a way to get one. Yeah, because I bought one when my Chromebook was great, and I thought I didn't need anything, and then my Chromebook blew up, so I needed another laptop, and I was like, well, let's get a good laptop now.
Yeah.
But that took away from my Steam Deck money. I really don't see a good reason to have this laptop and a Steam Deck unless the Steam Deck is native Game Pass play on the go cloud safe stuff. Like Steam alone isn't good enough. It needs to be more than Steam. If it's more than Steam, then maybe.
Sure. Yeah.
But I'm willing to believe. I mean, like it's one of those things that when there's a will, there's a way, right? Xbox seems to be very flexible. They've said they want to get Game Pass on everything.
Yeah.
xCloud is the easy answer, but they have to know that not everybody wants xCloud.
It's weird because they seem to do some sort of weird magic where the developers don't actually have to do a whole heck of a lot to the games for them to exist on
Proton.
different platforms.
They have a
Is that the deal?
compatibility layer.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like running an app in compatibility Windows mode, like a Windows 7 or Windows or like Sims
wrapper.
Golf, for example.
Yeah.
Right, like Windows 98. I can run it on my PC in compatibility mode.
Right.
So
Classic
that's
compatibility
basically
mode.
what they've got. They've got this Linux compatibility mode called Proton, which they say will run everything on Steam.
Yeah.
Full transparency, right now it runs about half the stuff on Steam. So
Sure.
they got a ways to go before they launch, but I'm sure that they will. They wouldn't have said that it will if they wouldn't.
Yeah, well, and they have to really start to close up some of those. Like some of them work, some of the times. Like it seems
Yeah.
like with every layer outside
That
of
device
the
will be
console
doomed
experience,
if it launches, and it's
Yeah.
like, well, Call of Duty doesn't work, and this doesn't like
Yeah.
that. That'll crush it. So
those are the kinds of things that drive me crazy. It seems
Yeah.
like other people maybe can live with that a little bit more, but for me, it's like I don't want to be guessing. It's like cloud saves with Switch. I can't stand that it's not 100% of the time. It's like I don't want to go. Does it work here? Does it not work here? Like, and I pay attention to that sort of
Yeah.
thing. You know, so if you're not really in it, then you're surprised by something not working. It's not a good experience.
And I think you're fair in doing that. You know,
Yeah.
I've heard you talk about that for many years, and sometimes I'm always like, oh, he's being too harsh, but you're not, because I've run into it on more than one occasion, and it's like for 95% of the stuff it works, but the 5% it doesn't, and the 5% matters. Because a lot of times it's like big games,
Yeah.
you know. So like that's the thing with the Steam Deck, they can't launch
Because it's
with
just my luck.
Right.
You don't want that feeling. Like, if I
Right.
don't want to be the special case. You don't want to go to the doctor like, I've never seen this before. Like, what? No, that's not good.
Yep.
It's a bad thing.
Yep. So the Steam Deck, I imagine it'll be fine when it launches. I hope, but I mean, I'd guess. I don't think they would have come out that strong on that statement if they didn't know.
No, and I think that both serve each other, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think people talk about the Steam Deck. Maybe one element of it, of course, is your Steam library, but so many people so quickly went to xCloud or some sort of Game Pass solution as like an additional thing to rationalize or justify the purchase or
100%.
pre-order. And I think it's the other way around for Game Pass as well. Like, oh, good, another platform, especially as we're talking about Nintendo. It's not going to happen on Nintendo, probably not going to happen on PlayStation. But so how prolific can this be? How many people are going to be playing on their phones? Well, okay, here comes Steam Deck,
Yep.
something that people are going to be buying a lot of, but we think. So that, you know, they both kind of perk each other up a little bit.
I think they'll put xCloud on the Switch, and xCloud is fine for Xbox, you know, access on Steam Deck. But
Sure.
xCloud's not good. I'm not going to spend $700 for xCloud. You know,
Right.
like it's like I have xCloud now. Like,
The
that's
buttons.
not good enough. I want real Game Pass download, play it natively Game Pass.
Yep. Yeah,
So
definitely.
I mean, it's a good sign at the very least if you're hopeful for that outcome. I mean, Phil's got one. I'm sure he's
Yeah.
playing it, and he's like, man, it'd be really cool if we could do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's got the mouse stuff. Wouldn't it be like a really cool device to bridge like the PC console of Xbox? There's so many PC games that don't come to console. Like the Steam Deck could be a great device to like just, it has everything. It does everything.
Yeah, it only does everything.
Ooh, good one. Oh, that,
Yeah.
how great would it be if they did that with the Steam Deck?
Can you imagine?
If
It only
Valve
does
partnered with
everything.
Xbox, they did it. It only does everything. Oh God, that'd be amazing. That'd be so good.
If we ran Xbox.
They put MLB The Show like friends.
Yes.
Okay.
And what else is coming to Steam? You got Horizon on there. You put out all the Steam games that they
Uncharted.
put on there.
Uncharted collection.
Definitely.
Xbox is testing a higher resolution dashboard for skip ahead users in the Insider program. That'd be me. The
nice.
home, the guide, and other areas in the UI are displayed at a higher native resolution for increased sharpness. The blog post does not explicitly state 4K. And I've seen a lot of people running with the 4K thing. They didn't say that.
Oh.
You would hope that it's the case because that's what a lot of people have been,
Yeah, I think I
arguing
saw
for.
Tom Warren say 4K. That's what
Okay.
I saw.
All right. I specifically went to their stuff, and then I think we saw some Jason Ronald stuff too that had said it.
What
may
would
not
you
be
think it would be? What
Well,
if not
like,
4K?
There's 4K, but then it might not be full 4K, right?
Sure.
So there's like a range right there, right? You've got the full 4K. What is it, like 2160 or whatever?
That
like-
is 4K.
But like, what if it's like 1900? I know.
It'd be weird just for the.
I know games do that. Like there will be a game that's in 1900, but they'll say it's 4K.
Yeah, some sort of like upscaling or something.
Yeah.
It just seems weird that they would do that for the home screen. Like it's got to be the easiest thing to do.
I thought it was worth pointing out that it doesn't say in the blog post full 4K. It doesn't mention a resolution or anything.
I wonder if it would be different for Series S versus Series X. If there's going to be different dashboards,
that's a good
it
point.
also seems strange. I don't know.
I don't think it'd
Well,
be
I guess
different.
probably wouldn't. It would have to be, wouldn't it? It wouldn't be 4K on Series S.
It could be. I mean,
it's-
Series S is capable of doing 4K output with certain
Sure.
things.
Yeah, it
I
just seems
imagine
like
the
they were
dashboard
targeting
would
that
be
system.
one of those things. So ultimately, what this really comes down to, the people that care about this, and I remember making a big deal about this, about the people that cared about this when it was originally unveiled. So the PlayStation's UI is in 4K.
Yeah.
and the Series X and Series S isn't. It's at 1080p.
Yeah.
And when people got these consoles and compared them, one of the things that you will often see when people are comparing these consoles at launch is the Xbox has a lot of like handshakes. So you turn on your screen and your screen kind of flickers and the Xbox comes
Right.
on. And then you start a game and the screen kind of flickers and then the game starts. And
Yeah.
the reason it's doing that is it's switching resolution of what's being displayed. It's going from 1080 to 4K, from 4K to 1080. Like if you're in a game and you go back to the dashboard,
Yeah.
it turns off HDR, it turns off 4K, it goes back to 1080. And it's something that I honestly think is at worst a minor annoyance, and it's not something I've ever really cared about. 1080p is
Right.
fine for text and stuff. Although, you know, the text side of me wants to say like there's no reason why it can't be in 4K. And you know, a sharper resolution. I've always thought give people options. Some people
Yeah.
may not want it, right? It may be harder to read for them if they can't see very well. And then people like me that have very tiny fonts and stuff on their monitor screens, they probably want to go up a bit. So
Sure.
I don't really care about this. We talked about this a little bit in Discord, and there was a lot of discussion about it. And I honestly feel like giving this any amount of discussion is maybe overkill. It's just kind of cool if they do it, and then not if they don't.
Yeah.
Who cares?
I remember seeing like text in HD, you know, going from SD to HD, like, ooh, I like
Yeah,
that text. Like,
sharp,
you
right?
know,
You
they
see
look
that
really
H?
sharp.
Look at that
Yeah,
corner.
yeah. So like that's sort of like the similar type of satisfaction that I
Yeah.
might get, like seeing this thing bumped up.
It's
like,
nice. I
ooh.
would like it to be in 4K. I'm not going to lie. It's just one of those things. We buy these boxes to play games on.
Yeah.
Not look at the resolution of the dashboard. Who cares?
It actually makes me think about Nintendo Switch as well, and they were clear decisions, especially on Switch, of like that the dashboard and the home kind of experience is so stripped down until maybe you get into the store, but that you fire it up because it's got to be snappy, and like this system, I think. For many reasons, this seems like just something that they wouldn't have done until now to make sure that it stayed snappy.
Yeah.
You know, we have to remember too that it wasn't all that long ago when they revised quite a bit about the dashboard experience.
We went through
so they
like
were kind of
6
hot off
different
that.
dashboards on Xbox One. And that's
Yeah.
going after like 13 dashboards on Xbox 360. Like we've done this
Right.
a bit. And
Yeah.
I really think we've settled on something really good. And
Agreed.
I'm at the point where it's almost Blade-like. It's like, leave it alone. Like don't mess
Yep,
with it
I
too much.
totally
It's-
agree.
It's fine. I did see Jason Ronald. He did respond to somebody. He said that this new dashboard doesn't take an inch more RAM from the operating system. So
And that's what I was getting around to is
Yeah.
it seemed like when they were finally going to flip the switch over, it's like it had to do exactly what you just said. Like it couldn't take any more resources or anything. They had to do some sort of
Yep.
magician work to
They wanted
to
to
make
be
that
as,
happen.
as the footprint as small as possible because they wanted to
Yep.
give every developer as much of those resources as possible. So they
Yep.
said that this new thing will do just that. So
Yeah.
okay, Sean, this is a little fun thing that we can talk about, I guess. People Can Fly released a statement on its investor website that suggests that Outriders has not been profitable yet due to Square Enix either not sharing royalties or copies of sold figures. Executive Sebastian Wojciechowski.
Nailed it.
We estimate the game at between 2 and 3 million units sold, and assume that this was a result that this would ensure profitability for this project in the first quarter of sales. The lack of payment by the publisher probably means that, according to Square, this isn't the case. Wojciechowski notes that a possible lack of profitability could be down to Square Enix distribution partnerships, such as Game Pass, writes IGN, that led to the publisher spending more than expected when releasing Outriders, ultimately leading to the game not earning profits yet. This has led a lot of people on Twitter to be like, see,
Oh,
Game
no.
Pass hurts developers. What do you think, Sean?
Very surprising, but also maybe the second game that in recent memory from Square Enix about like how much does this thing got to do to be profitable? Like how does this keep happening? And I think the last one that I remember being a Tomb Raider game. You're like, how are these things not earning their money back? I don't really understand that. I also don't know. It seems like there's just a lot of things that are unclear in this story for the conclusion to be drawn so definitively.
Oh, but
that
that's the juicy
Game
headline,
Pass-
Sean.
Yeah, of course.
Game Pass. It's got to be Game Pass, right? It's got to be Game Pass's fault.
Yeah.
I was a bit peeved when I saw, and it's like we should expect it at this point. At
Yeah.
least I should expect it, right? These folks, they build their business on people clicking in,
Yep.
and a juicy headline gets it, and like I applaud them for doing so. Obviously, the attention grabbing headline is what they wrote.
Yeah.
You know, like Square Enix not sharing investment and profitability reports with People Can Fly, that's not the headline that anybody would care about.
Right.
But you throw Game Pass in it, and then people will care. People will care on both sides of it. Because Xbox fans don't want to hear that news. Like, they hope that's not the case.
But I thought that there were twice as many PlayStations out there for people to purchase this game on. I thought that was a thing. I thought there were billions of people with gaming PCs on there that they could also buy the game on.
I wasn't even
How
going
much
that
cannibalization is there?
I wasn't even going that far. I honestly think that this can be, from what I've read, and I read a few news stories, especially over at Business Inquiries and GameIndustry.biz.
Yeah.
This could really be boiled down to how much money did Square Enix push promoting this?
That was my original point, and Hobie is right there with me in the chat. Square has a history of not budgeting well on games, and I think that should be the core of it. Maybe part of it might be what was Game Pass's
ton
role
of
in it,
marketing
perhaps.
for Outriders, a ton. Like it was everywhere a month before launch, leading up to release.
Yep.
It was absolutely everywhere, and it came and went in a snap.
Sure, and then also, what was the story about, how buggy was this game? What was the chosen model for monetization that actually wasn't really there? Like, it was chosen to be a certain way that it didn't look like a games as a service. It didn't play as that, but it could have, and maybe that could be a reason in that it was cost and budgeted in a way that, like a games as a service, but with no, like, recurring revenue, or there's no, like, after sort of drip feed coming at all. Those are, man, like, these headlines just drive me crazy, Donnie. Like these are all things that are like contribute towards it, and they're weighted differently. Some are more than others.
You know what? And to maybe defend those headlines a little bit, maybe, I'm not saying this is or that it's not. I'm just saying maybe this might be kind of a case to be an example of in the future, because maybe People Can Fly and Square, their original, publishing deal, maybe they didn't have any clauses for Game Pass or something like that.
Right.
Maybe Game Pass did impact the total sales of what they were predicting that they could do. And if that's the case, then that really sucks for People Can Fly, but like you gotta.
But wouldn't that have been subsidized by the Game Pass? Like isn't that part of the deal?
Thing. Well, I guess that's the point. Is the Wojciechowski guy, he said that they get royalties checks after the game yields a profit. So it's not they don't get a percentage of everything sold. They get a percentage of net revenue. So if they're not counting the Game Pass deal as revenue, let's say they're counting as just a publishing partnership. Like if they're not counting that as total revenue, if they're not,
There's no way.
If they're not taking that into account with marketing and everything else they put into the game, publishing, shipping, printing, all of that stuff, like that could be a sizable chunk. It might be a case of like, funny arithmetic. Like maybe the bean counters for Square is like, yeah, but we're just gonna put this over here, and like this doesn't count against your total.
Super Nintendo brings up exactly what I was going to say, which is it sounds a lot like what Scarlett Johansson is suing Disney over. If that is the case,
probably a better way of putting it. Yeah, it could be. It could.
You can't just swap that out and go like, well, my compensation was going to be based on like theater revenue, and then not put it in theaters.
The only reason I even speculate that is that they specifically say that Square hasn't turned over any financials for the game. So there's really, honestly, the story is that there's no story yet. Nobody can really draw any conclusion because without the financials for the game, without the numbers, who knows?
Yeah.
I found it interesting. He was like, we can't demand that from them. I was like, that seems like a pretty easy thing that you would want to ask for.
Yeah.
Like make sure that you're getting paid what you should be getting paid. I don't know. He did say that
seems so strange that they'd be in the dark like that.
Yeah, that was.
I hope they're telling the truth.
That was really weird. He's like, we have no pressure to. He said like we have no influence to pressure them into doing this sooner. To his investors, which I was like, wow. But he did say that he does expect the game to yield a profit this year, so he does expect the royalty check to come in. Maybe this was just a little nudge, Square's way, like, hey, send the check.
Imagine the lost sleep of like, I hope this turns a profit, and like you're kind of out of the window of excitement. Nobody's really talking about this game too much anymore. There was a moment, they had their window. It was absolutely perfect. All the stars were aligning. So I guess that's part of the shock and awe of this story is just like, it seemed like this was a big deal.
Yeah.
And maybe this is kind of dousing that a little bit.
Yep. Well, we'll have to pay attention to find out. I didn't like Outriders, so at the end of the day.
I loved it. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Thunderful Games confirmed on Twitter in response to a fan that the 3D platformer The Gunk is still releasing in 2021, and they said that information will be, quote, coming soon. Whether it'll launch again in September or not remains to be seen.
Gotta be September.
The original time. You think so?
Yeah,
Kind of
well,
like a
only
stealth
because
launch.
for it to really have like a chance, or for anybody to be paying any attention
I
to it,
was
because it's
hoping
just
we'd
like,
be hearing by now if it was coming in September.
well, when like Axiom Verge was maybe something similar, where it's like, and it's available now, like it's not unheard of, you
No,
know.
you're right. It's not, and I believe the Gunk's like a smaller game. They said it's like 6-8 hours, something like that. So
That might be the best case scenario for it. You know, that
Yeah.
I think it already just it being called like the Gunk, and it's an Xbox game, and everybody
Yeah.
like, you know, just weighing in on the pedigree of the developer here. It's like that's enough. That's enough. I think this is going to be a smaller game. I don't think we should get too terribly hyped about it, but we can be excited. Like it's
Makes sense.
it'll be. I'm sure it'll be good. But
You're right.
yeah, let's
Yeah,
keep it in check.
treat it more like an indie game, less like an Xbox exclusive, type
Right.
type of tentpole. And yeah, like I'm sure it won't be, and it's out now, but I'm sure they'll be like, hey, and the Gunk's coming next week. Get excited.
Totally. Yep. Yep.
And I was even going to
we-
add, like, maybe they'd want to hold off on talking about it too much until after Psychonauts comes out.
Yeah. Kind of similar space.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Give it a little time.
Yeah, both exclusives as well, right? Well, no, actually, Psychonauts is not exclusive.
No,
it's just Game
Psychonauts
Pass.
is on PlayStation
No.
because they had the Kickstarter and everything.
It's funny. I didn't mean to do that. That's just what my brain did a little bit there.
Yep. Sean, I'm very excited. I talked about those in Nintendo Shack, but this news came out after we recorded Xbox Empire last week. According to Kotaku, Rockstar is readying a GTA remaster collection will include Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. It will be rebuilt using Unreal Engine, and they also included, if sells well, could pave the future for Red Dead Redemption re-release.
Yes.
Which would
Yes.
be very exciting. I love Grand Theft Auto game. You said earlier, lots of open world, Donnie. Like this is my jam. I love open world games.
OG.
Let me go get lost in a world. And I love these old games. I was playing Vice City last week on my laptop actually.
Nice.
I'm kind of always playing one of those games. I'm always down for like a mission. I always give your Ryan some criticism for his extra mile he did on the Vice City. We talked about how badly it's aged, which he's right.
Oh yeah.
Most
Yeah.
people, if they haven't played this in a while, it's a lot of fetch quest, man. You go to
Yeah.
this point on the map, shoot somebody, blow something up, go to the other point, do it again. Follow this car to the next point. It's very
Yeah.
rudimentary by today's standards. But back in the day when these games come out, they were groundbreaking. There was nothing like that.
Right. Well, gameplay, one thing, the things that you're doing are obscene and all of those types of things. But, I think Rockstar has talked about this as well, where it's like, how would you do a Grand Theft Auto game right now? It'd be so hard to do that in terms of like the satire that they do. Everything hits really close to home from that perspective. But this kind of like maybe is a nice excuse, kind of a way to go, let's play a Grand Theft Auto game. Let's play it in 2021. And sure, maybe some of the references will maybe be a little bit dated, but maybe not. Like I kind of want this. I
love that stuff.
I
the
long
Laszlo,
for
the chat channels, like, that's the best. That's my favorite part of the game.
and I get a little bit nostalgic in a very strange way, maybe a bit of a hedonistic kind of way, where I look at, back when we were young and, Eminem and Marilyn Manson and everybody else were the ones blamed for the end of the world and everybody doing terrible stuff. And it's like, let's bring that. Like, where is that? Where
Pushing
is
the
the
edge.
media? Definitely, like, nobody's doing that. And I, like, Grand Theft Auto kind of really led the charge for that. That was the reason why people were doing terrible things. And
Definitely in the
those
gaming
types of things
space.
went away.
Definitely. in the gaming space.
Yeah, and
Like when you
as
could get
time
a
has gone on.
virtual lap dance for the first time, people went apeshit. They were so mad.
Yeah, so if we can't have a brand new Grand Theft Auto 6, let's remember what it was like with GTA
Sean,
3.
we're spoiling the minds of our youth.
I know. Well, they're spoiled no matter what. That's the thing. These games have kind of gone away, and like still things are worse than ever.
They've never been re-released. GTA 3 was re-released in its original PS2 version on PS4.
Wow.
And it's not good. There's so much
Yeah.
ghosting and artifacting, and it's not good.
Yeah.
I have it there, and it's just awful. The mobile ports are really great because you can turn up the resolution and the field distance. When they said that they're rebuilding them in Unreal, I immediately thought of No More Heroes. They released No More Heroes 1 and 2 on basically everything but Xbox recently. Those are built in Unreal, and they look like they used to. They're just super sharp. Just super resolution, super sharp. So I imagine that this will be the case. I'm not expecting like it to look completely different. Like it's not a remake. It's a remaster, I think. I'm very excited, and I'm excited to hear that they might re-release Red Dead Redemption, especially if they include Undead Nightmare. I played it on Series X when Series X launched. I'm not sure if you've played the free master, but the upscale resolution on now is quite good even.
I never did. That game just really captured my attention.
Plays great
man.
on
Like,
Series X. I'd love to
Yeah.
see how much better it would look side by side, because it's still like on Series X with X enhancements.
Yeah.
Red Dead holds up. Original Red Dead holds up really well. So
one of the things that I don't think you really get in the free masters is sort of like a reconfiguration of like the UI. Like it still kind of looks like everything looks big. It doesn't look refined. It doesn't look tight and kind of into the corners and stuff. So I think that's something that I could really look forward to. And I think about just like in my mind's eye of replaying through Red Dead Redemption, that's what I see is a lot of UI elements kind of everywhere. So that'd be nice to have that tucked away a little bit.
I buy them all, and I'm gonna buy. I was so excited to hear this news. I've been wanting and predicting and saying that this is possible and should be coming for years. And I'm gonna buy 2 copies of this game. I'm gonna buy one for Xbox and Switch because I want it on the go. But I definitely want to see it. And,
good point.
As good as it can be seen. I said,
give me the other ones too, man. Give me the other ones. GTA 1 and 2. I want the top down.
I want Chinatown Wars would be.
Give me 4. I'm one of the only people in the world who likes 4. It's only me.
No,
nobody
you
else.
and Haley.
Yeah, Haley. I like it.
Some interesting
Liberty City
company to be in.
Cousin.
Oh God, what? Just awful. Stop. Every time. She always says, "Hey, cousin, let's." I'm like, "Oh God, Haley, stop."
I just like the city. I like Liberty City quite a lot.
Yeah, of course. And I like Grand Theft Auto, like just the formula. It's like kind of like Creed for me, like Instinct of Football. Like it's a video game that I enjoy playing. So
it's like what? It's like Creed?
Like Assassin's Creed, like the formula of Assassin's Creed, right?
I thought because since we're talking nostalgic stuff, I thought you were talking about like the hit 2000 band Creed, like My Own Prison or Higher or something.
No,
with
I was
arms
not
wide open. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's like Scott Stapp. Okay, I get it.
Oh God. Oh, GTA 4, the Scott Stapp of video games.
It might be. That's why in my mind it was the same space.
So yeah, I'm really, really excited to do these again. I love Vice City. It's always my favorite. I love the Donnie Brasco, Goodfellas, mafia type flick.
It's a fugazi.
It's so damn good. Yarded wrote in, with the recent GTA talk reminded me that I got my first HD TV when GTA 4 was released. I could barely read some of the text on screen. I was in school, so my parents went 50-50 on me. Do you remember when you decided to upgrade for the first time?
HD TV.
I guess so.
Oh man. Oh yes. Oh, I remember this well, man. I was selling TVs at this time. I was all in it. We were talking shop at Canadian Best Buy called Future Shop, having the HD DVD versus Blu-ray conversations.
Much more music. What a joke.
Such a son of a bitch. I liked it quite a lot. So yeah, my first TV, my first high definition TV, I went all out because I was selling the things and I got staff purchase. So I saw a beautiful 57-inch Toshiba rear projection TV, 1080p, just an absolutely gorgeous TV. You took the top off and they had like the 3 light bulbs deep down in there. The base was 250 pounds. The top was just a screen. I had monster component cables coming out of my original Xbox. I had the optical cables running into my home theater. Did the same thing on the 360 days. You better believe it, man. I was not satisfied unless it was 1080p, high definition TV. And then when we got to the Xbox One, I'll just jump forward, and everybody's having these 900p arguments. I'm like, I thought, wasn't the 360 wasn't that HD? Like we didn't know, like we weren't like, are we going to be concerned about that? It was all fake.
720.
Definitely, we weren't measuring
720
it, but
was HD by all accounts in that generation. I'm so happy that you said what you said, because my story almost just matches yours. I got my first apartment out of high school, and on Craigslist for $150, because I had to go to the house and it was like an hour away and actually physically move it. I bought a rear projection Toshiba HD TV. It was 55 inches. It was as big as like a dresser. It had its own speaker stand that it sat on. It was huge. And I took 2 people to lift it. And I brought it home, and I had component HD cables that I got from, I think, DirecTV at the time. Yeah. And I remember I plugged it into my house, and my father-in-law came over, and we turned on the Super Bowl, and for the first time ever, he could see like the glittery sparkle in a player's helmet. Like before, he just thought it was just like silver paint. Yeah, and then like you could actually see the flake sparkling. He's like, "Can you see that?" I was like, "Oh yeah, you can."
Mind blowing.
I had that TV for like 6 years.
Well, and even like I don't know if like when you got like satellite or cable, your first channels, and it was like there's There's all the like the wars back then.
That was
like,
some time for me because I was always I've always actually been a cord cutter. Like before, I
Oh,
was
okay.
a cord cutter before I ever got cable, to be honest.
Well, when you were first getting into it, like the cable providers were like, we have whatever 9 channels in high definition. The other ones had 14 channels, and it was like 5 of them were some nature thing, like didn't really count at all. But yeah, you were desperate for HD content. You would watch it wherever you could get it. I remember those days. This is a great question. I remember those days so well.
Yeah,
we were fighting over everything. I was 100% into HD DVD.
Sean,
man.
I had the component cables for the Wii.
So did I. I bought it for my sister. I'm like, you gotta have it. It's unwatchable without it, man. You need to have these things.
Man, it takes it from 480i to 540p.
480p, yeah, exactly.
I was like, it's
like anybody can see that.
It's such an upgrade. You gotta have it.
And
I
worth
it
it.
actually
Probably $50.
I do remember playing like Wii Golf on that big ass TV, and I loved it. Actually, I was like, this is amazing.
Honestly, the speakers on those rear projection TVs, because that base was so massive, like the cones
I have
on them.
pictures of my daughter when she's real little in front of that TV, and every time
my gosh.
every time we go on like a nostalgia trip and those pictures pop up, my wife's like, "Do you remember that TV?" Oh, fun story! I have a video on my personal YouTube channel. It's unlisted, but I have a video of our very first duplex, our first Christmas. So it's like we're talking like 15 years ago, like dirt poor, right? I couldn't play the TV and like the Christmas tree at the same time. It would throw the breaker. So we had the TV and the Christmas tree on, and I had the Xbox turned on, and I had that Fire app, and it would like light fire on the TV and play Christmas music. That was an app on the Xbox 360 before we all had Netflix and got it. I paid for that. I think I paid $3.99 for that.
Worth it.
And I have this little video of my daughter running around, and then the lights and everything just go off. Like the entire house just goes.
Oh my
zoom.
God.
And she's like, and you hear my wife in the background. She's like, I told you we can't do the 360, the TV, and the Christmas tree. Like, one of them's got to go. Like,
Well, think of how much power those TVs would have drawn as well. Like, the
yeah.
things we got now, like LEDs and whatever, it's like a quarter of the energy.
For sure.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, very. Those are. It's almost like thinking about like when I was a young kid and my dad's electronics. The gigantic, the oak TV and the stereo stack
Those
and everything.
were real furniture. Like, I don't think we count TVs as furniture, but TVs used to be furniture.
Yeah,
you had to buy a
definitely.
wood cabinet that matched your wood in your living room and everything. Like it was a centerpiece.
Yeah, if you were like looking away, ran into it by accident, like you could break your arm on it.
Oh, it was made. It was made to have stuff sit on it. It was almost like a shelf. Like it was made for you to.
I'm pretty sure we were playing like wrestling
doors?
on the TV.
Remember the
like
doors you could open? My grandparents had one that doors on it. You open it because like why would you want to see the TV in the room when you weren't watching it? Like you could close it like a cabinet and it just looked like furniture.
I'm sure you and I have talked about this before, but people should definitely go check out Roger Ebert's, like when he walks you through his home theater in like 1987 or something like that. And he's like, this is the top of the line, whatever, VCR with so many heads or whatever. Like it's hilarious, man. His giant TV probably cost him $5,000.
I wonder if like real wealthy, famous people ever look back and they're like, God, we spent so much money on.
I spent so much money. That TV I bought was not cheap. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, at least
man.
for me, I remember I paid $150, and I remember here's why I remember. The person I forget what he wanted for it in the time, and you and I have different timelines on this. I'm sure. I'm talking like 2006.
Yeah, no, I'm probably about the same, but I was working at Future. I was working there, and I was probably making a couple $100 a weekend.
Might even have been 2004, 2005, maybe. I'd have to double check, but yeah, right around there. And the person, I think he wanted 300 or something, and I was like,
"That's really good."
And I kept asking him to like take less, and he was like, "Absolutely not." And then like a week went by, and I was like, "I want $150, and I come get it today." And he was like, "Just come get this damn thing out of my house." And I distinctly remember calling my friend. I was like, "I'm getting this crazy deal on a TV. I need your help, but we gotta go."
That is a crazy deal.
We gotta go right now. We drove all the way across the city to get it.
I obsessively did like the configuration on it, like where you like make sure that your reds were right, your whites were right, and all that stuff. And also you could
they had the aligning one with the X's that you would align to like the corners and stuff. Yeah, I remember all that UI.
Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh, just obsessive over. Because if I was gonna spend that kind of money on it, I wanted it to look good. And if anything was just because they had 3 lights like making your image, they all had to align.
You're making me remember all kinds of stuff because I remember I would like get into the habit of I would dial the colors in for when I was playing video games,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would have to redial them when I was doing TV because they didn't match.
Yeah.
They weren't the same. So
Mm-hmm.
I had like in my head, I memorized like when I'm playing games for optimal performance, like you want these numbers, and then when I'm playing,
I'm like
when I'm watching
picturing like the
TV, I wanna do
menu,
the other
man.
way. Yeah, yeah,
Toshiba
so
had
am
a
I.
certain font to it as
It
well.
was
Like, yeah.
awful.
Oh, who was that? Was that Yarden?
Yarden
Put in that
Angel.
question. Oh,
Good
such
question.
a good question.
Cyberpunk released a patch. It's out now. Comes in at 32 gigabytes. Includes free DLC for players. This is basically cosmetics. You get a new look for Johnny Silverhand, new jackets, a new vehicle. There's endless patch notes. Like there's just endless patch notes. So the highlights include they fixed your minimap and the GPS on the minimap, updates to your autosaves. They give you more of them. They lowered the respec cost when you're respecing your character, and they fixed a lot of bugs with main quests and side quests in the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like 14 pages of other stuff that they did that I didn't care to comb
The game
through.
was on sale at Best Buy the other day for $10, and they still
With
didn't
the
sell out.
Steelbook.
Yeah, with the steel.
With
Still
the
didn't sell
Steelbook.
out.
The Steelbook alone's worth $10.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't. I told myself last year when I had pre-ordered it twice by accident. I was very excited about it. Obviously, came in. Reviews were what they were. I didn't open them. I ended up returning them, thinking, I will rebuy them. I will pick up one of these crazy sales, or maybe it actually comes into Game Pass when it's actually ready. And here we are, almost a year later, and I think it's actually gotten worse than even then. Like I care even less about Cyberpunk now, which is just like so terrible because I was so excited about it.
I was so excited for it.
I didn't have like baseless hype on it. Like it just seemed like I was captivated by the Keanu Reeves performance. Like that was a big deal.
I just wanted big open world. GTA with neon and all just Blade Runner stuff. I was so in for it, and was so let down.
Now it's gone, and now the thing is that last year was relatively wide open compared to this year. Like that was its moment. Halo's coming this year. We got Forza.
Well,
You and I are going to do this soon.
That's why they forced it to go, because they knew
Maybe
they had the landscape.
Yeah, I guess so. You never really. I mean, we talked about this too about how every year it's like I guess this year's thin, but it's also very busy. Like fall's just a cram time to get in there. But I don't know. Maybe also they were just trying to get some revenue in the door. They don't have a lot of other things, and a lot of other not too many irons in the fire, so to speak. So they just need to get it out and. They got their money. They're probably going to be fine. But personally,
they made a bunch.
I don't know. This doesn't really hit at all. I want it to be a No Man's Sky story. I want them to turn this around, but I don't know. These things, these big updates drop, and they just don't seem. They just seem to, like they're like a wet rag. They're just they flop.
Well, they haven't released the big Series X giant thing that everybody's waiting for, right? Or we're all waiting for the next gen update, like basically the game's relaunch.
Sure,
right. This isn't that.
So. And maybe this is just required as part of the development process that they've got to do this. Yeah.
Yeah. Once they fix the game, then I imagine they're doing it in tandem, but they're trying to fix the game before they go, okay, now we've made it awesome for your console. Look how great it is.
I guess. Yeah. I don't know if the games are comparable at all.
Some of that hype will come back if it's good, but the problem is you can only do this. Like you can only do Cyberpunk once,
right?
Because you burn people and they'll remember that forever.
There's
really
people
still trashing EA for microtransactions, even though they're on record being like, we're done with it.
We
made a giant mess. We're not doing it anymore. And there's people that will never let them let it go. Every time they announce a game, just go check in the Twitter thread. Everybody's like, microtransactions win. People, gamers definitely remember that. So that you can only do this once. Like whenever they release the Witcher game, that's all enhanced for next gen. It better be awesome.
Yeah.
And whenever they ever come back to the table with a brand new game, it better be amazing on day one, or you run the risk of losing people forever. Because I think they'll give you one. Like you'll get one or two. They'll give you a break.
Yeah.
But after
BioWare's right there with them.
Yeah. After one or two, then you lose them. Then they're just done. And once somebody writes you off, it's going to be really, really hard to get them to give you another chance.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to start hearing things like, I'll wait for it on Game Pass. I'll catch it on sale. I'll get it on eBay, and that's where you start losing lots of money.
This is where remasters can really help. It's almost like a cheat card a little bit. I think Dead Space is going to be that. Definitely.
This is why Nintendo holds those cards, because you want to use them when you need them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and they misplayed it. You see what they happened when they really misplayed with Metroid. Like they damaged that franchise for a long time, and luckily people have kind of held up until this point. But they should have had some sort of remaster, something instead of Fusion, whatever. What was it? Oh shoot, what the heck was it called? Everybody's mad about everybody.
Other M?
No. It was. Oh damn it. I don't know. Doesn't matter. It was on 3DS.
Samus.
Everybody's.
Oh,
No,
I know what you're
it
talking
wasn't
about.
even like a Metroid game.
No, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about Metroid Blast Ball and
Federation Force.
Federation Force, yeah. Which I like.
Sorry. Yeah. So, but again, like it's just the wrong timing, wrong order of things. Mass Effect Anniversary Edition is
They
an
made up
example
for it
of
with
this.
Samus
Dead Space
Returns.
helps. Yeah, like they'll get there, I'm sure.
But this is why, and it's not just Nintendo. I always think of Nintendo because they've got that giant backlog, but I say this all the time. This is why companies hold on to their remasters. Like,
Yeah.
this is why they hold on to them, because they're going to wait for a time when they really need them.
Yep.
They're not just going to, because and I'm probably guilty of saying it too, but you'll see it a lot on Twitter. People are like, if they just re-released it, they'd make so much money. And it's like, but
Right.
they know that. They know that more than anybody. It's like Square with the Final Fantasy stuff, right? They're like, if they
Yeah.
just put it on Switch, they make so much money. It's like,
I know,
but they know. They know
I
that.
know, and I know that, but like it's still the the strategy
You know,
around
it's like
Final Fantasy.
They're
It's like,
completely aware of that.
but why? Like
They're not dumb.
have-
You know, they're not over there being like, "Oh, I didn't think anybody wanted to play this on Switch." Like, come on. Like they're not that dumb. They know.
But mobile and Steam, like
They
what?
know.
It's manipulation. Like they're just messing with us at this
Well,
point.
I mean, I think on mobile and Steam, like, I think they probably make more revenue on that, don't they? Like per copy sold.
maybe
I
it's
think
easier to develop for. Maybe it's just easier to put it onto the platform. There's to your point. Maybe it just there's got to be a reason.
Yeah,
Why
think-
they would start
I think
there.
It's
It's just-
they're going to start there and they're going to make that money. Because here's the reason. The reason they're releasing on Steam and mobile, they're going to get the diehards to buy it there. Then they're going to release it on Switch and they're going to buy it again.
When you really want.
Well, they're going to buy it
Yeah.
again. Because if they release it on Switch, and a lot of people just buy it there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you release it and then they'll buy it again. You'll double
I
dip.
don't like feeling manipulated though. Like I'm
Yeah,
a
but
pawn in
everybody
these
does this.
games.
A lot
I
of
know
people do
it
this.
sucks. Yeah. Yeah.
Especially like on the Switch market, like on the handheld thing.
Absolutely.
A lot of people do that. Like, let's put it somewhere, and then our folks that really wanted to get it, and we'll put it on Switch, and they'll get it again. I've actually
I know.
heard, at GDC, I heard somebody say that. I forget who it was Indie Dev. And they're like, we have
Yeah.
a lot of people that bought it again on Switch, and they can buy our accounts. It's the same people. They bought it twice.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they're like, like that's a significant amount of revenue. You have
Instead of
to
making them
account
buy it
for
on the place, allowing them to buy it on the place that they truly want it, you put them. They actually will go out of their way to buy it in a place like I guess I'll just buy it here.
Yep.
Instead of if they got it on Switch first, and they wouldn't go buy it on Steam if they release that later or at the same time.
Yep.
I don't like it. Probably right. That's got to be it.
It's extra
That's
money,
gotta be
man.
it.
It's money in the pocket, right? It's free money at that point.
I guess so.
Speaking of Game Pass, we got some updates. August 19th, Sean, Recompile, 12 minutes, and Train Sim World 2 is out. I want to try this Recompile. Got a splash.
I don't even know what it is.
Screen. Looks kind of cool. I'm gonna try it.
wanna
This is
check
one of
it out.
those. It's like I saw it. I'm like, I want to try it. I want to see what it's like.
Just to give it a little love, because everybody's going to be focusing on 12 minutes.
Of course.
Ryan drew my attention to Myst coming to Game Pass on
August
August
25th,
26th.
Psychonauts 2 and Myst arrives. Sean, that's actually great that you're here for the show tonight. Like how fortuitous is this? I've known about Myst basically my entire history of gaming. I've never played Myst.
Yeah. Yeah, my dad played Myst.
It came out
PC.
in, was it 1993?
He's somewhere in there. I would have guessed 95, but I think there was a sequel. Maybe was it called Riven or something
I
like
think
that? They were-
somebody on Twitter tweeted it came out in 93. I think that's where I'm pulling that date from. Because they were like, I played Myst back in 1993 and I can't wait to play it again. And the reason that I remember that, because I was thinking to myself, I was like, in 1993, I was 6.
Oh wow. And you know what? I wanted to talk to
it's
Ryan
like
about it on
I
the drive.
wasn't playing Myst.
Yeah, no, we were. We had it. I mean, that was a huge reason to get a CD-ROM on your PC, like to install that hardware onto your PC so that you could play this
I know that
game.
it's somewhat iconic, but I don't know why.
Well, I think it looked really good, like the visual style of it, because of the power of CD-ROM. It looked really, really good, and it was very, like it was like you were there. Like it was you hadn't like played a game quite like that. And also I think it was it spanned different gamer types and ages. To my point, like even my dad was like knew what Myst was, and he wasn't into games at all, and it was just something that like he could do that or play like he played like mahjong on PC, like he could do that in Myst. So I think it was very prolific in that from that perspective. I'm curious to know if it still has like it might just be a nostalgia kick at this point. Like people who played Myst or knew what it was back in the day, it's like oh yeah, like that was something special.
This is a remastered version that was remastered for Oculus and VR. And it's getting
that would be great.
It's getting a
That'd be
console
cool.
port to Xbox. I believe Xbox and PC only at
Yeah.
this point in time.
That's
So-
about right. I mean, it was a very PC centric game.
I have a curious interest, kind of like Microsoft Flight Sim. Like I downloaded it just to see it, but I was like, I have real no interest, and I feel
Yeah.
like that. Like I feel like I'm gonna try it. I guess.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of like The Witness in a way, but I don't think it's nearly as intellectual. It's not nearly as challenging, I don't think,
it a
but it
puzzle
is
game?
puzzle oriented. Yep. You're trying to figure out how to get through the screen, try not to like to the next kind of area. There's some, I don't know. You grab a bag of sand, you put it on
remember-
the shelf.
They released it, I think, on like DS or 3DS. I think that was the first time that I really heard about it, and I think that's
Yeah.
when I was like, oh, this is like some
Yeah, I think-
old game.
I think in a lot of ways it's kind of like an inexplicable, just like monster hit. Like
Okay.
why? You know, I don't know. But yeah, very, very good looking for the time. And the fact that it's been remastered, I think is very cool.
Cool. Touch controls were added for Hades, Bloodroots, Farming Sim, Going Under, Need for Speed Heat, Peggle 2, Psychonauts, Wasteland 2 and 3, and remastered. Used to be
I'm a fan of the touch controls, man.
Yeah.
You can move them around, you can
can do
customize them.
Hades on the go.
Yeah, it's very
I
cool.
don't know if you want to play a game like Hades on touch controls. Or
It seems
Bloodroots
like
for
it-
that matter.
Probably not.
Did you try
No,
Bloodroots?
I haven't, but Yakuza Like a Dragon's good. Like games like that,
That
where
makes
you can
sense.
just do like turn-based stuff
Wasteland,
for sure.
I imagine, probably would work.
Yep, pretty good. Definitely.
Bloodroots is really good. I like Bloodroots a lot. It was a lot of fun.
Mm.
I'm excited. I think that game has slowly made rounds around PSVG. I
Yep.
bought it when it came out on Switch, and I was like, I talked about Shaq for a couple weeks, and I started talking about it in Discord. I was like, I really like Bloodroots. I think maybe Super Nintendo. I think he was with me. Like we were both like, Bloodroots is really fun.
Yeah.
And then and I think XP started talking about it one week, and they bought a video game summit. But like it's one of those like you hear about it weeks and months later. Like you just start to find like it's making its rounds. It's starting to find its way around to people.
That's cool.
And when it
Yeah.
came to Game Pass, I kept reminding everybody. I was like, don't forget about Bloodroots. It's good. Good game.
Nice.
It's very like Devolver-esque type game. Leaving Game Pass August 31st, the end of the month. Play them before it's too late. Blair Witch, Double Kick Heroes, NBA 2K21, which I've played a lot of actually on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Stranger Things 3.
Yeah. That's okay.
Don't play Blair Witch. It's not very good.
I didn't love it.
I don't
I
like
wish that I did. I like the idea. I like the franchise.
course.
I
How
like
they
that
pulled it
notion.
off, had it been like looked awesome and was beautiful and ran well and like all those things, I think I would have loved it. But that was
Yeah.
a game where the performance completely took me out of it. That game
It actually made me a little bit sick.
it
Yeah,
doesn't look
like
good.
this-
Did not perform well.
No.
Was not good. Was
Yeah.
actively bad. I remember the first time I played it, I was like, this game looks awful. Kind of like Deadly Premonition. I was like, this game is.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I didn't play that one, but I can't imagine. Yeah, maybe that's a little hyperbolic.
Yeah,
It
maybe.
wasn't that bad.
Well, Deadly Premonition, you might be right. Deadly Premonition 2 especially can barely run.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it barely works.
hmm
This game works, it just does not.
Yeah, but you
work
can
very
finish it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not very good. Okay, Sean. Well, that brings us to the questions part of our show. TPR. Oh,
Are we not doing this question? I don't know what it
it's
is.
one of those. It's like maybe I want to save it for Elaine.
Okay.
I don't
okay.
know though. You know what? TPR writes, in spirit of reminiscing before you both rejoined play some video
yeah.
games, have there been games that you loved that you wouldn't have tried if the other Empire host didn't convince you to give them a go? So I think this is a good question for you actually, because I was sitting here, I was thinking about this when he asked. I'm sure there is a game, but I can't think of one that comes to mind that Elaine was like, hey, I really like this game. And I was like, oh, okay, well then I'll go give it a try. What
Yeah.
comes to mind is like Doom and Tetris Effect. But those came
Yeah.
to Game Pass. I was going to give them a try anyway.
Right.
I just think Elaine and I really like that the overlap of games that we do enjoy is a really interesting one. Not interesting. I don't think it's particularly interesting, I guess. That's not the right word. the games that we both like, I don't think I share with so many other people in PSVG.
Right.
Like we both love Wolfenstein and Doom and Valhalla. We don't love everything to the same thing together. But the ones that we do overlap is a really neat. I think I only have that overlap with her.
Yeah.
Right. It's like we drive on this very, like this type of game. She and I gel well on. So I don't think she's ever given me something I've never played before. I was thinking about Ender Lilies. She's been talking about that the last couple of weeks. But a lot of times with Game Pass, we already have them anyway, so we both play them. So
right.
But what about you? You listen to the show. What do you think? Is there something
you've championed the medium? You've championed the medium big time.
I love the medium. And when it comes Game of the Year talk, I'm going to keep bringing it up.
Yeah.
I think people forgot really about it and they don't want to listen to it. And it's like medium, one of my favorite Game Pass games ever.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
For sure. And I even think I even forget that it came out. It came out this year, right? It wasn't last year. It was this
beginning
year.
of the year. No, it was late. Remember, because it was supposed to be launch.
That's hands down my Game of the Year, Game Pass Game of the Year right now. Not even close. There's not a strong second.
Somebody was reminding me that the Hitman 3 came out this year, and it's like, holy crap, dude! Like this is so weird how that works out.
I'm glad you brought that up because I tried Hitman 3, and the only reason I tried Hitman 3 is because of Elaine. I would have never even tried it.
Yeah, actually, she probably got me on that too.
I didn't like it, but I definitely played it. I played the beta.
I didn't stick with it. I liked it, but I did not stick with it. But that was more than I would have expected because I'm just not good at stealth games. Like, there's a very particular way that you're supposed to approach that game, even though there are lots of like exploratory ways you could do it. You could take out your target in a variety of ways.
Jogged my memory, Sean. I wish I would have brought this up earlier. Going back to the beginning of the episode, Siege of Paris, they do bring back like the black box missions for Creed where you can choose your own way of killing your target in an area, and that's cool. Fun. I have enjoyed doing that, but the story wasn't enough to make me keep doing it. But they do change the gameplay up a little bit, and I completely forgot to mention that.
PGA 2K21. You were holding the flame for that one.
I wish we'd get back into that.
We could get back into it. I could see it. Like, are they not doing 20? I guess the time has come and gone for if there's going to be a 22.
I don't think it's going to be this year.
They'll just do the Tiger Woods thing next year. Yeah.
I think so. I don't know, but I don't think it'll be this year. I think if it was going to be this year, we'd have learned at the EA Play event. They didn't speak anything at all about golf, so I think it's next year.
I'm just scrolling through my achievements because that's what I love about this.
So I've gotten PGA 2K. I still play pretty regularly. I play that once a week. I usually get about a round in once a week. Oh, wow. So if you guys ever want to get together, I have the Masters, Pebble Beach, and St. Andrews saved to my favorites. Oh. And they're like expertly designed. So like I've gone through like forums and found some of my favorite courses across the world, and I've went and played them because you can't name them the same thing. I'm not sure how much you follow this, but in PGA Tour 2K, like you can make the Masters, but you can't load the Masters to the server and call it the Masters.
That's hilarious.
Delete it, right? Yeah. So there's like a forum that you can go to be like, look for this.
Yeah.
And here's
the
remasters.
Masters.
Right. Yeah. And so I've got some sweet courses we can play on if you ever want to get Golf Club back together.
I'm super down. Dude, yeah, definitely.
PGA Tour 2K is so much better than Mario Golf. It's sad. It's so much, but leaps and bounds better than Mario Golf.
What I hope that you do for the next foreseeable future is anytime you're talking about any golf game, even remotely related, whether you're talking about Nintendo or not, which we're not here, just make sure that you bring up the Mario Golf is not what we wanted.
So let down.
Just take the opportunity. Fun. Do you remember hashtag Fun Time?
No.
This like it looks like a Geometry Wars. I could have sworn you got me on this game.
Oh, yes, I do. I did. I reviewed that game. Yeah, you're right. Wow, I forgot all about that game.
Yeah, cool music, neon, flashy, arcade.
God, that was a good game, Sean. That is a good game. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I reviewed it on Xbox, and then I also bought it on Switch.
Yeah.
That's a good game.
Yeah, I think I'm running out here. There was another one that I skipped past because I wanted to keep going, but there was another one here. If I don't get it in 5 seconds here, then we can continue.
Okay.
Yeah.
We just have a really long silent pause on the podcast.
If you just want to like listen to me scroll through,
will appreciate that.
Through my phone, I don't know, it might be gone. I would say Ryan got me excited. My co-host on the Xbox Drive got me excited about. Well, you and him both. Tell me why. Got me excited about that one as well. You guys really championed that one.
Dude,
Scarlet Nexus was the other one that I was going to say is that I probably would have skipped that if Ryan didn't get excited about that.
I overhyped the demo way too much. I was
that was good.
Excited for it. Mm-hmm. That was kind of a downer for me. That one's kind of a bummer for me. That one, The Ascent, and
Yeah.
Biomutant. Kind of missed the mark. Although I kind of expected Biomutant would too. I kind of just threw money away at that. I was like, let's try it.
Yeah, just whatever.
I want to play something, and this is here.
Mhm.
Man, life is strange. A few weeks away, Sean.
Yeah. Oh, look at that, man. That's great because I waited
excited.
quite a while for Tell Me Why, and I ended
remember,
up
you
liking
played
it.
touch controls, right? Or
A little
on
bit.
the cloud?
Yep. That's where I was starting it. Yeah, I was like, I wanted to play it a little bit away from my TV, so I was grateful that it was there. And yeah, you don't need terribly responsive controls for that one. It's like whatever, that works. So
Great game. I like the
yeah, that
puzzles
was really
in that
good.
one more than anything else.
Yeah.
This is a question right down your alley. Laurel asks, could a new Banjo game be successful on the
Yes.
Series consoles, and what studio would you task to make it?
Oh, I don't know who to make it. I mean, Playtonic is maybe a cheating answer. They made Ukulele, because they're all the old rare people.
That's a really good answer.
It seems like too easy almost. But I don't know if there's anybody in the stable of. I don't know if that's part of the question or if that's insinuated or implied
No.
that it has to be somebody that they own.
No,
But yeah,
if it was somebody that they owned, I would want it to be Double Fine. I think.
yeah.
Who else? Could
Which I
do
wouldn't
it?
have said a year ago, based on, and this is entirely based on what was coming out of the previews out of Psychonauts, is that game actually handles quite well. But my opinion of Double Fine games in the past is that like they feel weird, like they're very creative, but they just don't. They have a strange control scheme, or they're a little janky in some way. But maybe they could pull it off now. Maybe with a little
Could Moon
backing.
do it?
Moon Studios, yeah.
Would you
For some reason, I was.
Bring
This is
Moon back
maybe a
and
bit
be
of a
like, do you
leap.
want to do Banjo?
Give them everything, honestly, just whatever they
Banjo,
want to do.
But do you think they could do it? Could they do a 3D platform? I mean, it's a whole different thing.
Well, it's funny because I was thinking about
Could they make it a
Yacht
2D?
Club. I was thinking Yacht Club games.
Yacht Club would be great. Well, also I worry.
But
about,
again, like,
I worry
similar
about
idea.
3D with them. Yeah, you're right.
Right.
Well, it's because it was so funny because I was like, Banjo's 3D, and I know I feel like people would just, I feel somebody out there is gonna scream into the microphone to hear me even say it. But like, could you do a Banjo game in 2D?
Yes, you could,
Would people
because
just
and the
be
reason
furious?
I think maybe in principle, but think
Jacob
about
out there just like
Jacob will know this. Where I'm going with this with Playtonic, the first Ukulele game was 3D, very much like a Banjo-Kazooie game, and then the Impossible Lair was 2D, and it is excellent, and I mean really, really good.
Yeah,
and
it
so
is.
I think that would be really interesting to see that particular team take the Banjo that they're known for and then go to 2D because yeah, that team, they did a really good job. Who does the Red Fox,
Super Lucky's Tale?
Lucky's Tale?
it's playful.
They could do it.
I don't know if are they still around?
I feel like they were. I think the second game especially was particularly well received, and it was solid. Like it felt like it controlled well. It looked good. It kind
look
of had
them
everything
up.
that I would want out of
I
it.
thought maybe that they had. I mean, their website looks current, so I guess
Yeah.
so. I guess.
Oddly enough, I
they
think
haven't-
Sony has a couple studios that
They
could do
haven't
it.
done anything anything in so long at this point in terms of announcing a new project or talking about. But I mean, their Twitter's active, yeah. So I guess they're around. They've got a Steam
Yeah.
Deck. Like they got pictures of their Steam Deck and what they're doing. So yeah, Playful Studios, I would be down. Super Lucky's Tale, especially the Switch Super Lucky's Tale. Actually, I love the cleaned
new-
up version. Yeah, new Super Lucky's Tale is really good. It was
Yeah,
a
it really is.
really good improvement on that game. That's a game I need to get on Switch.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah, so those are good answers. Yeah, but if there's anybody in house, I guess. Yeah, Double Fine.
That's a bit of a gap for them. Like that's the thing,
Yeah.
Like who else for that style of game? I don't know that they have it
I was
necessarily.
gonna say
in-house.
Sumo, but they just got bought.
Good
But they did
God.
the
Yeah.
excellent Sackboys Adventure, which was great. I love playing
Yeah.
the game. I've almost thought
That's
about replaying it on PS5 because I only played.
Who
it on
did
PS4.
Astro Boy?
Astrobot, Japan
Astro
Studio.
Boy. Astro Boy, is that the
Astro Boy.
the anime? Yeah, man. Didn't even know I was watching anime. That was like the original, man.
Yeah,
Astro
Astrobot's
Boy.
a Japan studio, and then they shut them down and they reformed
Damn
under
it.
that new brand. Well, they're
Yeah.
keeping the Astro people. They created a different label. I don't remember the name, but
Yeah. Honestly, give it to Playground.
Playground.
Playground games.
They just do
They
everything.
can do anything.
Just the coalition. Come back
Yep.
with the banjo game.
Can you imagine?
He's got
that
like,
would be
a
awesome.
chainsaw and like everything. Just the gun and everything. It's like, oh,
Just
this is
cover mechanics.
This is not the banjo,
He's missing an eye. He's got an eye
They
patch
should
and everything.
actually it would be great if whenever they do bring Banjo back, and they will,
Mhm.
whenever they do, it'd be great if like they kind of spoofed everybody with like a Smash like
Yep.
trailer, and you see him just like
Mhm.
Banjo as a new thing, and everybody's like, "What?" And they're like, "Just
What the
kidding,"
crap?
and then it just
Uh-huh.
goes like super kid friendly. That'd be amazing.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think it would be best to outsource that to a different team,
Mhm.
which is not uncommon for Xbox. They've basically done that with their properties for decades.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would think that would probably be the best way of doing it. Although I would say when it comes back, I actually think they should. Well, it's hard to even say this because I would say a remaster or a collection would be in order. But I mean, they have the enhanced versions of the games and they're really good. But I still think
They're really good.
I still think you should remake them, make them
Mhm.
better, like
Yeah.
reimagine them, like a
Mhm.
new engine and stuff. But they're the original games, but you remake them.
Yeah, part of me that has been wanting like them to just throw, a couple $100 million over at Rare and have like a carved out like subsidiary of Rare to
Yeah.
just like do that.
Just
Just
hire
like
a second team under the Rare banner.
yep, and they're there
Yeah.
to remaster,
Just buy
remake,
Playful.
whatever. Just
Right,
a
Playful,
treatment for
you're
it.
just Rare team too.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense because I do think there would be some apprehension when they do ever bring Banjo back for it not to be associated with Rare.
Yeah.
People are just nostalgic that way, and you're not going to get that away from people.
Some trusted studio, like this is the thing Sony's doing a really good job of. Like they're not hiding it well. We all know that they've purchased Bluepoint. They just never really officially announced it. They let that JPEG slip out. And I think that Microsoft would be really smart to have that as well. And I talk about this with Rare and really all of the major developers and publishers, the gigantic amount of properties that they've purchased, and they've got no dedicated resource to celebrate or bring back any of those properties
Yeah,
that
'cause
they've kind
Halo-
of brought over.
Halo and Gears, they both have had heavy remasters, and they relied a lot on support
Right.
studios that have been purchased by other people. So
Yeah.
it kind of makes sense to maybe secure those resources if you in fact need them. If
Was
you're
it
looking to
Blur?
future.
Blur Studio, was that just for the cinematics for Halo? I don't know if that brings a bell for you if I'm on
I
the right
remember
track
that,
here.
but I don't. I'm
And for
not.
the anniversary.
I remember that. I
edition?
remember Nathan being real deep in that. I remember talking about it, but I don't. I'm not super knowledgeable enough to, I think, recount the details. But it rings a bell for sure.
Yeah, and I mean like the initiative is doing Perfect Dark, which of course was Rare, and that's sort of like a massive version of what I'm talking about.
Sure.
But yeah, that'd be kind of interesting. And I just don't know enough about how to like expand. How do
Well,
they scale up?
If WB is actually going to release
Right.
studios at some point, like they have Traveler's Tale, and I know when we were talking about that back when that rumor was hot, and everybody was like, "Well, what are you going to do with them if they don't have the Lego license?" It's like, well, I know what I'd do with them if I was
Oh
Xbox.
yeah. Oh, definitely.
I got a lot of things that I would do with a studio like that. It's like, all right, scratch Lego. Here's Banjo. Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going. Just keep doing what you do. Because honestly, those Lego games, like the style of game that they make, is perfect for Banjo. Just give them
Most
the character.
definitely.
Do a kind of like a, I'm being facetious in my simplicity. But reskin
Sure.
the game away from Lego, make it cartoony, and let's
Yeah.
crank out some Banjo games. And that's a team, that's a studio, a development, engine that cranks out games on a timer often.
Yeah.
You get a new Lego
Mhm.
game every 2.5 years, man. It's like Lego,
good
Lego,
point.
Lego, Lego, and it'd be great. Like they could do a new IP, they could do a Banjo, they could do any of Rare's old stuff. You could bring back a lot of different stuff.
And it's funny because that hits the Game Pass model, but it's opposite of like the games as a service kind of thing that
You
might
could
that
even
people
let them
kind of are
make like
starting
a
to say that is
Minecraft
Xbox's
game. You
brand.
could have a Lego
Yeah.
style game centered around the Minecraft idea.
Oh, that is a cool idea.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking. Me and Kevin were talking about this back in the WB because I think Kevin and I agreed on this. Everybody wants the Batman team, right? Rocksteady and stuff. And I think the one point he and I disagreed on is I would take Rocksteady without Batman.
Sure, so would I.
I just think they're quality dev. You've seen what they
Honestly,
can do.
that's who I was thinking of for Banjo. I'm like, give him Banjo. I think that's somehow work.
But like Mortal Kombat, right? NetherRealm makes a ton of sense for Xbox. But
Mm-hmm.
I think Kevin and I both agree that Traveler's Tale actually makes a lot of sense for Xbox. I don't know how much.
Yeah.
I think maybe Nintendo, but probably not because they probably don't want
Probably
to give
not.
them some of their IPs. But for
Yeah.
Xbox, you could actually find a lot of stuff for them to do because you're right. They need more of a E for everyone studio, and that studio cranks out games, and it works for the Game
Yep.
Pass model. And I think
Yeah.
a lot of like if suddenly, and again, I'm just kind of using some of my point. If everything that Lego has done in the last 10 years was a Game Pass game, Game Pass would be really attractive because they do crank out content. So if you give them IP like Minecraft, like Banjo, to work with, that could.
I'd like to see more like the Lego treatment afterwards, sort of like what we saw with Forza. So let's say you give that team Banjo, and then like there's a DLC that's like, and you're entering the Lego world, right? So it's not a Lego game to start, but like later on, that it might
for sure.
Just be
I was just thinking. I was just like, I'm assuming that if the day comes where Traveler's Tale gets spun off, I'm assuming that the Lego license wouldn't come with them, right? So they need something else to do that's not Lego. I'm just thinking like, will they have IPs that they could take that Lego, the style of game, their design of game that they know, right? Like free roaming, exploration, puzzle, light combat game. What IP can fit into that? I could see them taking that formula and making a Halo game. I could see them taking that formula and making a Minecraft game. They could make a Banjo game. Like Xbox has a lot of content for them to chew on that works, that would work for that.
I mean, I guess it was a part of Mojang that did Minecraft Dungeons as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Think of that. Similar thing, but like if it was more kid-friendly.
Yep. Yeah, even more. Yeah, there's still
for everyone kid-friendly. And you could have like a light shooter for Halo, and I think kids totally. I know Jack would be totally into that.
No doubt.
Like a little Splatoon like Halo shooter. They'd be through the moon. He'd go crazy for that idea.
Yeah,
and then
no doubt.
That's the perfect way for Banjo to come back in like a new but a different but new way.
Iron Galaxy is another one that comes to mind. That kind of seems like they can do anything. I don't know if they did Killer Instinct, actually. They've done a bunch of stuff. Like I feel like so there's maybe a connection there. Oddly enough, it's where Adam Boyles from PlayStation went off to.
I think if Xbox wanted them, they would have them.
I agree. Yeah.
I don't know what that says, but I mean, I can't imagine that. They're just holding out. I can't imagine. Like, it's different. Like with Moon. Like with Moon, I actually understand they're so small. I understand like their independence. Plus, they got a lot of prospects. I don't know anything about Iron Galaxy besides Killer Instinct, which
I just think that they're flexible.
I didn't care about.
Yeah.
You're right. Delvin wants to know, with the changes coming to the podcast, how do you think will fundamentally change your approach to episodes? Delvin, I don't. As I've said, and I continue to say, Place of Video Games is just going to be Empire. We're just going to talk about other stuff.
Yeah,
it's literally what's going to be. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to do it in the same format. Yeah.
I think people like, and I get to be the fan answering this question. Like I'm looking forward to just even the more perspectives coming to the table. Of
course,
right? Like you and Elaine have often had like you have that perfect blend. Like you're agreeing, and when you agree, like you have a really good exploratory kind of conversation. But you also have like the disagreements that are interesting to listen to, and you'll have that expanded out. And especially you and Dev.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot more disagreements.
Well, which is great. Which is really
about everything.
So, and it's going to be that give and take too, because like what you and I basically just did, where it's like, okay, let's like you and I were kind of on the same page about like all these ideas that we can explore. And it's like, okay, this and then this and this and this and that building is exciting, and it can be contagious to listen to a little bit. But I think it'll just be longer. I think is the biggest thing. You guys will have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I can almost guarantee it'd be longer. I mean, we'll have more people on the show.
It's going to change your play style maybe more than your podcast style.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I already am anticipating it changing like some of what I'm playing, or what I'm planning on playing. When I'm planning on playing first, how much I'm playing. I think
you talked about you hit me over the head about not beating God of War. I wasn't even close. Like, and a lot of that is because I don't do a PlayStation show.
So damn good. God, that game was so good.
For me to really beat that game, I probably would have had to play it for like pretty much dedicate my time to it for probably about a month. Like for the amount of gaming time that I have, I probably would have dedicated, which means that I would have gone a month of podcasting about Xbox or Nintendo.
It's a pretty long game. Tsushima is the same way. Tsushima is actually, I think Tsushima is longer.
Yeah, it might even be more than a month.
Dev tells me that after this first island, I just got through, the game speeds up a bit. So I mean, I can only take him at his word, but I mean, it's a long game. I sunk 15-20 hours to it, barely did anything.
Yeah.
It's a pretty long game.
Yeah.
So
what do you think? What about how's Elaine gonna adjust to this?
Well, I mean, she's the host, so she has to make more adjustments than I do. Really, I'm setting myself up for the You know, like this is like the senioritis project for me. Like I'm just showing up, man. I'm just
Yeah,
hanging
man.
out. I do
Mhm.
think I won't feel so compelled to stay as current because I have other
Yeah.
people to lean on.
Mhm.
I do admit that I openly think I try and play things for the podcast,
Oh,
for
yeah.
the podcast content. And I don't
Mhm.
think on this new show I'll be doing that nearly as much,
Yeah.
which I think is fine. I also,
Definitely.
like when there's two people and it's just me and Elaine, especially when we open the show with what we're playing, you don't want to leave the other person hanging. You want to have something to say.
Right.
Whereas I think with four people, I think I'll just focus on like one game.
Mhm.
I won't show up with, hey, I've played these 3 or 4 or 5 different things. Like, I'll just be like, I'm playing this one game. And I
Yeah,
may
man.
show up with that multiple weeks in a row. 3 weeks in
Yeah.
a row, it's like, I'm still playing this one game.
Because that's how people play games.
It is
I
how
think
people
that's the
play games.
thing. And then there's a couple times over the last few months that I've kind of been exploring that a little bit as well. And honestly, like I've talked about it. I think I finished Scarlet Nexus, and I feel like there was one other game where I'm like, you guys just have to understand that like I'm going to be talking about the game in relation to where I'm at with it at the time, right? So I want to
Yeah.
always be clear about like I'm 10 hours in, I'm halfway through, I'm almost at the end, like whatever it is, and like that could change, right? So I could be a couple hours into a game, really liking it, and you just kind of have to know that where I'm at. If somebody were to hear that and then make a purchasing decision based on it and say like, oh, you said it was great and I didn't like it, it's like you really have to understand where we're all at with games and that we all can identify with that. You know, where our opinions change, or maybe we nailed it right off the first hour or so, where we know this is a banger and it turns out to be that way, or sometimes they just kind of fall off and or the ending ruins it, or for whatever reason something changes along the way. So I'm just kind of like coming around to accepting that a little bit more, and a lot of that comes with chatting with you, just don't put so much damn pressure on yourself, and
Yeah.
all I can do is just be honest and clear with where I'm at when I'm communicating on a podcast.
Sure. Yep. Yep. 100% agree. TPR asks, what is an Xbox franchise or game that you think would take the handheld gaming market by storm if the offering was available? Not talking about xCloud, a native pocket console, something like your 3DS, a Switch, or a Vita, like something like that. Is there a franchise that you think is tailored to mobile? I feel like I know your answer.
Yes. I don't think you
Viva
do.
Pinata.
That should be actually, that's a better answer than what I have. Actually, that is exactly what I
Viva
should be saying.
Pinata
But you're close. Mhm.
Honestly, almost feels like a Nintendo game in a
Yeah.
lot of ways. And if it was on Switch, I actually think it would sell pretty well. Like, I think
Yeah.
it would do fairly well.
I was thinking maybe it's just because we just chatted about it, like Banjo Kazooie, like a new Banjo Kazooie
Yeah.
would be really good. Like it's all the Nintendo stuff.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
you're right. You're not wrong. But that game will do well wherever it goes. I mean, I think of that game as like a console game. I was reading the question differently. Like certain franchises, I think apply better to mobile than console. Like I don't think Mario applies to mobile as well as it does on console.
Sure. Yeah.
Whereas Fire Emblem, I very much think
I
of
think
like
RPGs.
a mobile game. You
Yeah.
know, so like it's interesting because I don't think that's something that Xbox has a lot of. And and actually piggybacking off of that Rare thing, over on the Xbox 2 podcast, Jez has been saying for a while now he thinks Xbox should look at acquiring some mobile studios, which is kind of a trend. I don't know how many people are looking at this, but like Tencent has bought a lot of mobile studios. I think Embracer Group just bought like 5 mobile studios.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talent out there that make video games, but they make them for the mobile market. And I'm wondering if Jez is onto something. Maybe there is some untapped resource here where you could pick up a mobile developer and then let them make something like a Banjo game or something. Like maybe we're thinking about this the wrong way.
Yeah.
He didn't say that. He didn't tie them to like Banjo. He was just saying that. I think he was tying it more to xCloud. He was saying like for xCloud to really take off on mobile, you've got to bring mobile-like experiences to xCloud, which
Sure.
is a point that I actually agree with, because it is weird. Like I remember all the times that I have tried to play Gears on my phone, doesn't really feel like
Not
it's
so
meant
much.
to be played on the phone. So you kind of do need some mobile-like experience. And we've seen them dabble, right? They did Gears Pop. You could even say Dungeons. Like I think Dungeons was a really good attempt.
Yeah. I'm going a little further back. I'm thinking like even like a Geometry Wars. I wonder how much a twin stick shooter would actually work, like the arcade experience. You know, and in my mind, at least in my weird kind of messed up brain, I think about looking down on my phone and that hands-on experience as
I would
somewhat
love an
similar as like the
original Geometry Wars remaster.
yeah,
I'd buy
totally.
the hell out of that game right now.
Yeah. remember playing like I don't know if you like. Did you ever play like a Pac-Man on like the tabletop? Like it was like a table and you're
Yeah.
looking down. It's not one on an arcade cabinet, but
Yep.
kind of like that. Like for whatever reason, like the interaction, the perspective is kind of similar to me when I think about like a Geometry Wars or something like that.
Sure.
Yeah, that's my answer.
Okay. Last question. What can Xbox do? What can Xbox do to really push the Xbox this fall beyond Game Pass? It's Xbox's biggest game, and I feel like it's all too quiet considering the game should release in a few months. I think he's talking about Halo. Yeah.
Halo.
Yeah. That came from Daniel, by the way.
I mean, we don't know a lot about Halo right now. That's the funny thing I was saying to Ryan on the Xbox Drive today, where I'm like, there still is a chance where we could get a Xbox, like a custom or limited edition console design, and Ryan immediately shut it down. And he said, well, we would have heard about it by now. I'm like, we don't even know when the game's coming out. So I feel like the hype machine hasn't really fired up for Halo.
I agree with you. I think that starts next week at Gamescom.
Yeah.
I wouldn't disagree with you on the console or hardware front. I know a lot of for a while I was sure that we'd get an Elite 3 for Halo. I was positive. I don't think we're getting an Elite for Halo. I do think.
Can I be honest with you about my Elite? I got to be honest with you. I might sell it, and I don't even know if I should, because my A button not working so well, and my left bumper, which is prominent in the game, one of the games I'm playing right now, not working so great. I literally just before coming up on here, I swapped out my Elite controller for the controller that came with my Series X, and I'm just like, and everything's working fine. And it's like, that's not where I want to be with it, because it feels like such a good controller. I love so much about it.
Yeah,
and
I hate hearing that.
I hate saying it. Like, I've really tried to hold on to this thing, but I
bought an Elite about a month ago, and I've been playing on the Elite ever since, because
so good though,
the
right?
screenshot button isn't what I was hoping it was going to be. So I was like, I might as well go back to that awesome controller I had. So I ended up trading a bunch of stuff in for an Elite controller, which I really like. I'm not sure if you saw the picture, but I swapped my D-pad and my triggers and stuff for like these red metal accents. So it's like black and red and stuff, and it's really nice. But mine's hanging in there pretty good. The Elite is great. I was just sure they would have one for Halo. I thought Halo was going to be a big enough release. I think if they were doing real hardware, I do agree with Ryan. I think we probably would have heard about it. It doesn't mean that they couldn't announce it at Gamescom. I think we'll get a theme controller. I don't think we'll get consoles because they're still trying to make consoles. And I don't think they want to siphon off their manufacturing process to make special editions right now.
To the point of the question, it's Halo. These are the things. These are the things where they would like blanket out Times Square. They would buy out all like the marketing spend on Halo has been gigantic in the past. So it does feel when you think about it in that light, this does feel weird. It's like, where is it? Like, what's happening? And it's not in a fear mongering kind of way. Like I'm not suggesting that there's anything wrong. It's just like when you compare it to previous releases of Halo, it's like we're not quite there yet. So there's still lots that can be done. I think people need to get their hands on it. And maybe it's the Game Pass model that might be the replacement for it. You just get it into all these people's hands. It's free to play for multiplayer. Could be the other side of this as well. So
I think it's interesting his question, he does postulate, what can we do to push Xbox beyond Game Pass? I actually think I've seen that a few times with people online, they're like beyond game, like what do they have besides Game Pass? And it's like, what more do you want? Like they have Game Pass. It's so damn good. It's the one thing that they have that nobody else has. And I'll be damned if the Game Pass podcast will accept this notion of just dismissing it. It's not to be dismissed. You're gonna have Back for Blood and 12 Minutes and the Ascent and the Gunk and Halo Psychonauts. And Forza and Psychonauts. That's all coming to Game Pass in the next 3 months. Like that's all coming forward. That's not what's coming out. That's what's still yet to come out. We just rattled off 9 or 10 games that I'm pretty sure you and I are going to play all of. We're going to play every one of those games.
And they're the same. Many of them are the same games that people are looking over at Nintendo Indie World and going like, does not look good. And it's like, many of them are coming over here. That Boyfriend Dungeon, like all of it. Yeah.
And we're going to get our EA trial. So I'm going to be able to play the new Madden on Game Pass. I'll play it for 10 hours before I have never played more than 10 hours of Madden before it's come to the vault. Like I like Madden, but that's how casual of a player I am. Is that I play the trial, and that trial always gets me like the 6 months later. It's usually like right after the Super Bowl, right? They're like, and
it unlocks.
Madden. Yeah, and it's like, I'm still in the trial, so we're good to go.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. But that is, as much as we can kind of like giggle that off, like what else do you want? Like that's a real perception out there that it isn't enough, for some
Imagine,
people,
give me
which is
Halo and Forza, and it's not enough.
it's hard. It's like what? Yeah, I guess what? I don't know.
What
Like,
else
what
do
else
you
are you
want?
supposed to do? Yeah,
What does
I don't know.
PlayStation have? It's like that's filling that void for somebody else. And I don't mean that as a shot across the bow. I mean,
Right.
like, I mean that just in terms of a lineup. I've got both. And trust me, I'm not
Yeah.
looking forward to buying that many things in my PlayStation 5 this fall as I am looking forward to getting a Game Pass.
It used to be games like Hades that would not come to Xbox that are not now starting to come to Xbox, and they are coming to Xbox and Game Pass. Like it's like they skip so many steps from like not getting it to
Sure.
also getting it, and it's included in the subscription. Like Hades is such a big deal, and I think it's such a good sign for that. But yeah, it's when taken in a silo of this question, you might go like, I don't know how to combat it, but then you think like, what else is happening across the bow? I don't know. Nintendo has a
I
really
think
interesting
Nintendo's
fall
doing
though.
great. Yeah. Like if
Yeah.
you look at it a different way, if you throw the rock the other way, I think Nintendo's good. We got Pokemon
Yeah.
games, we got Wario games, we got Advance Wars
Yeah.
games. Like they're good.
Mhm. Yeah, they're pretty stacked
You know, like,
actually.
they're good. Their lineup looks great.
Yeah.
The PlayStation lineup looks like a lot of the games that you can play on Xbox should you choose to do so.
Mm-hmm.
Battlefield, Call of Duty, NBA, Madden. You know,
Yeah.
it's like a lot of the similar stuff.
Yeah, totally.
But not on Game Pass. You're not getting them, for
Mhm.
quote unquote free or if you're subscribed,
Yeah.
which you should be because it just saves
Yeah.
you money.
Yeah, I think that might be part of it is just like I've talked about this before. How is Xbox going to make it like you're basically accidentally signing up for Game Pass? Like
I mean, I think they
is it-
already have.
yeah.
I know a lot of people wouldn't agree with me, but like I'm stunned anytime anybody ever tells me that they don't have Game Pass. Like it does not compute with me in my brain.
Yeah.
You've probably heard me on this podcast rant about it on and on. It's like, how are you not?
Yeah.
Who doesn't do this? Like,
Mhm.
I honestly feel like it's like a line in the sand type thing. Like you just don't want to, which
Right.
that's fine. Like you can have that opinion, but like, there's not a whole lot of like sensible reasons besides just like to not do it. Like, it's
Yeah.
your money. Like, do you want to
Mhm.
play MLB The Show? Like, it's one of those things. It's like if you bought MLB The Show, like full hard-earned cash, $70,
Yeah.
then you should
Yeah.
have just got Game Pass. Like,
Seriously.
I look at that, and I'm like, why did you spend that money?
Mhm.
Like, you could have just got Game
Like
Pass.
how many months is that? How many months of Game Pass
Exactly.
is that?
And it's
Yeah.
like, how many other games could you have played for that same investment? Plus the game that you purchased. Like, if
I
you
think
bought
you-
Outriders, why did you not just get Game Pass? I did this last year with Kyle. He bought Tell Me Why. He just went to Steam, gave him $30. Like, why?
Yeah.
And he's like, I just don't want a Game Pass. Why?
Yeah.
Like,
it's a principle thing. It's
it is a
that-
principle thing, which
or
I
just
appreciate.
behavior.
No. When I talked to Kyle, it was I want to say, I
Sure.
think it was Kyle. Maybe I have the wrong guy. I'm pretty sure it's Kyle.
I've talked to people too, just like I don't want recurring charges
Yes,
to my card. Or
I get
whatever.
that. Yeah, and his thing was like, he's like, yeah, I just don't want to do this, and I'm like, I get it. And it's like, just know that you're actively not using your money as best you can.
Well, and I have similar sort of like principled aversions to things like microtransactions or like if I were to pay for an app on my phone, it's like this is $1.50 that I'm like not spending that will probably save me an hour over the course of using this game or app of like not watching ads or things like that. And it's like it's more of like I just don't buy games on my phone.
Yep.
I spend that easily once a day, if not a couple times over on soda and pop or coffees from McDonald's. And I don't do it on my phone. That's kind of dumb. So I get the aversion to just, I don't buy that type. I don't spend my money on that type of thing. That's a thing. So it brings me back to maybe, I think you and I talked about this when the Series X and S launched last year, where we're like, there's no coupon or anything for 3 months of Game Pass
really
included with
bothered me.
every unreal. And I think that might be something that I could see them starting to do, especially when you think about like who's going to buy the first year of consoles. It'll be your hardcore people. You're not having to win those people over with any sort of like promotion or anything. Now you're a year later, you've got some people like, oh, I've been hearing about this Xbox. They could maybe do something a little bit like that, which
Good
isn't
Black Friday promotion.
totally
3
yeah.
months of Game Pass
Yeah.
every time you buy a new thing. But they usually always do a Black Friday promotion. They usually buy one get three.
Yeah.
It's $15
Yeah.
for 3 months. I usually stack up on those every year. I keep telling everybody like buy as many as you can. Last year I bought like 6 of them from 4 different stores. I was like, because they
Yeah.
had limits, you could only buy like 1 or 2, and I was like, I would buy one here, 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 and here. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things like I'm fine if somebody's just like, I don't like Game Pass, or I don't want Game Pass, or I don't like subscriptions. The subscription things I'd press a little harder to, because it's like, who doesn't have a subscription at this point?
Yeah.
You know, like, you've got a subscription to something else, so why not a subscription to this? Like, why is this the line that you draw in the sand? You know, like, it's that principle thing. It's like, if you have a belief, that's fine, but let me explore it and let's see if this is actually a belief. Like, you know, do you have other things that break this belief of yours, or is it just this thing? But it's one of those things where it, you know, the deal hunter in me just can't let it go. I'm too cheap, Sean. I'm too cheap to be like, come on. You're actively spending more money to not do this. Like, why?
Yeah.
Who does
And
that?
the thing
Anywhere, on any product, everywhere. Like, who does that? Who's like, no, I know that I can save a bunch of money, but I just choose not to.
Well, and not only do you save the money, but you and I think have done this. I'm spending way more money on Nintendo because of Game Pass, actually, which is just amazing.
I buy
like all the games I bought.
I freely buy any Sony game that I want because I'm not buying the games because of Game Pass. Like, numerous occasions this year, 2, 3, 4 different occasions, I have opened the Xbox store and just wanted to buy something.
Same.
Because I hadn't bought something in months.
Yeah, they got great sales. I should
I should buy something. I should. I almost feel compelled. I'm like, I should buy something, right? Because like, I'm not buying anything on this box. Like, when a game comes along like Kena, I'm gonna happily buy Kena on PlayStation.
Totally. Yeah,
no
you don't even think about it.
reservations on the price at all. Because I'm saving so much money. Like, Game Pass has saved me so much money annually on the amount of money I spend on games, and they've let me try, play, finish a bunch of games. Like, before Game Pass, I would have to do like some math in my head. It's like, oh, do I really want to give this indie game $20? What if I don't like it? You know, like, do I want to get it
Honestly,
over here? And it's like, it's just like, sure.
You know, when they do the end of the year thing where they like, this is how many games you've played, this is how many hours you put into this, these are all your achievements or whatever. It'd be really interesting for them to go like, these are the games you played on Game Pass, and this is how much money you would have spent.
That would have been that. I've always wanted that kind of math. I tried to bring that math up on occasion. I think at E3, remember, I counted up all the games we were going to play on Game Pass and just counted up how much it would cost. You're right. You're right. Because
any game that you spend more than 2 hours on is how I would look at that.
It's staggering. When you look back at it on Game Pass, it's staggering. We're talking hundreds, if not thousands of dollars annually. I think at E3 alone, the amount of games that they announced for Game Pass that were coming this year, wasn't that number was like $600?
Yeah,
if you just bought them all?
Easy. Yep.
I mean,
and that's the thing. And you can imagine like the Microsoft hype machine or the marketing engine that they go like, gamers played $6 trillion worth of Game Pass games this year. They would take that engagement number just like, you know, just an unimaginable number.
The average gamer saved $782 with Game Pass this year.
Yeah, easy.
I've heard the one that always gets me, and now at this point I'm just bringing up Fanboy Wars, but one thing that I've always heard with Game Pass, because I've seen a few videos of like this on YouTube, and a lot of people were like, I don't like renting my games, I like owning them.
Sure.
That's something that I've seen come up quite a bit. And you know, like, a lot of games in Game Pass never leave. It's not like everything leaves.
Yeah.
The other point that I've always brought up, it's like, well, I've also heard a lot, not saying those are one and the same, but I've heard a lot of people say that they don't play old games.
Yeah.
That's a common thing. We've talked about back compatibility for a long time. It's like, well, if you don't play old games, then what's the point owning them?
I just think that those two they're not a mutually exclusive opinion to have. It actually, they complement each other so well. So you get to play the game day one, not pay day one price. And then if you really want to own it and it leaves, then you're going to be buying it at end of year sale or a summer sale or something. And it's like $6.
And you're free. I know what Elaine and I do. We're openly admit to it. You're free to buy it on a different console. I buy so many Game Pass games on Switch.
Yeah.
I'll play it on Xbox. I'm like, I love this game. And I want it on my Switch. I want the Switch cart. You know, like I bought Streets of Rage. I completely played and beat Streets of Rage 4 on Xbox and bought the game again, bought the DLC on Switch.
Yep. I don't know. What else can you do?
Sorry, Daniel. Hope we answered your question as best we could, but it's going to be hard for me anyways to speak anything anti-Game Pass because I freaking love Game Pass. Everybody should do Game Pass.
Yeah.
Nintendo should Game Pass. PlayStation Game Pass. Steam should have Game Pass. Like, it's just a great idea. I would just subscribe to 4 subscriptions of Game Pass and call it a day. Actually, that sounds ideal.
Honestly,
you know, it's like here's the sub, $15 a month, and just let me play hundreds of games every month that I want to.
That's the thing. Like, I feel like anytime I'm turning my brain over here, trying to think like what else can they do, but it's just like they are giving away so much.
Yeah.
So then it's just a matter of
Spending
which I
millions of
respect.
dollars to deliver the show and Outriders and stuff to Game Pass. It costs a lot of money that they're investing into this program.
Like,
like-
what else? What else are they gonna do?
And again, I don't mean it to turn into Fanboys Wars, but it's like I do feel like the better question is, what is somebody else doing
Yeah.
to earn your money?
Yeah.
Like, what is somebody else's? Like, Nintendo's not giving me Pokemon. I gotta buy Pokemon.
Yeah.
And for me, I gotta buy 2 of them. The same damn
Yeah.
game, Sean.
Are you gonna do it? Are you gonna do
I
both?
do it every year.
Oh,
I buy
man.
one for me
Yeah.
and I buy one for Jack. I play
Oh,
it.
okay,
And then
that makes
when
sense.
I'm done, I give Jack my copy and he takes all the Pokemon from me that he wants. And then I
Yeah.
trade mine in. Like we do it every year. I buy both of them. But like I'm gonna buy Kena this year, and I want to buy Horizon when it comes out next year.
Yeah.
But it's like they're not giving me anything for it. I mean, you know what? I guess in PlayStation case, to be fair, PlayStation Plus has been pretty solid.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
They've done a very good job with that. I think I think a lot of that is to keep up with Game Pass. That's where I've always chalked it up to, is that they gotta, they're competing as they
Yep.
should, and they've done a really, really good job.
Yeah, I mean, it's a service that people understand, that you add that to your library, you download it. It's not got that kind of maybe confused perception of PlayStation Now where you got to stream it sometimes, but some other ones, that's just a mess.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it is.
get good games in that other system, and it's a one-up on Xbox's Games with Gold. Like,
Every
it's just
month.
it's such a no-brainer
Every
for them to
month.
do it that way.
Games
They
with
don't
Gold
compete with the
sucks.
similar. They don't, because that gamers don't look at them and go, well, sure, Game Pass is better than PlayStation Now, but because they cross it all together. So they see PlayStation Plus being really, really good, and they'll directly compete that with Game Pass, which costs more. Like, it's actually quite brilliant what they've done with PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
They just keep those people happy, and it also is very similar to what Xbox did last console
Maybe-
generation, where they weren't winning the battles, but they were keeping Xbox fans happy last generation.
Yeah, yeah. They made me double down on PlayStation Plus after I owned my PlayStation 5 for like the first 2 or
Yep.
3 months. I grabbed 2 or 3 years of PlayStation Plus on sale.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah,
Yep.
they're gonna keep doing this. I'm on board. Yeah, here's some money, Sony.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm locked in on those subscription models. Like, it's just so funny. It's like, it's just part of doing business at this point. Like, I don't look at that as a, do I resub up? Do I do, like, I just do it. I don't want to miss anything.
I had with Plus. I let Plus lapse on PS4 on a couple times because there's just too long of time would go by where I either wouldn't claim something, because I don't claim everything.
I should be there. I
One
really
of those
should
things,
be.
like Kevin claims everything, every free game, every Epic. I hate that stuff filling up my library. So
Yeah.
I am very choosy with what I like. I choose to claim things that I think I want to play. I don't
Yeah.
claim everything. So there was some times during PlayStation 4 where just 6 months would go by and I'd be like, and I haven't played one of these things.
Reminds
Like,
me, I
even if
probably
they're
should
good or
look at-
bad, I'm just not playing any of it. So what does it matter? So I've let it lapse on occasion, but I've always come
Yeah.
back. I've always come back. But with PlayStation 5, I mean, I don't think this really isn't an opinion. I mean, they really stepped up their PlayStation Plus game and they launched PlayStation 5. It's
Oh,
been
yeah.
a night and day difference this year versus last
Right from
year.
the start, the
Oh, yeah.
collection they did was just
Yep.
like, holy crap. I remember when watching that announcement, it was like every game was better than the last. It was like, holy crap, man. They
Yeah.
really killed it with
Yeah,
that.
so I definitely resubbed. I was like, okay, let's let this
Yeah.
ride.
Yep, definitely.
So they're doing a good job with that. But yeah, man, I love my Game Pass. Well, that's going to do it for us. Oh boy, 2 hours, Sean.
You did it.
I didn't even
Are you
realize it.
surprised?
No, I'm not surprised, but I will tell you, I haven't thought one time that we've been going this long. I haven't thought about it at
No.
all. We're just
Nope.
chatting, and I looked at the time.
That's a
and I was
movie.
like, wow. So
When people join this.
I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Remember, we've got 2 more after this one. So the penultimate episode, I guess, will be next week, and then the series finale, September 1st, as we launch Play Some Video Games. Our new podcast comes out September 1st. You can subscribe to the podcast feed right now in your podcast player where you're listening to this show. Just click on the link in the show notes. It's right there. It's the first thing. Just scroll down. Just do it this one time for me. Click the link and hit subscribe, and you'll be good to go. That's it. You're solid. You'll still be there with us. And if you love Xbox and you don't like this news, well, we appreciate the fact that you listened to us for however many minutes you did. It was a pleasure. And if you're looking for more Xbox shows, go listen to Sean's show. Sean, tell me
yeah.
about your show.
I do one. Yeah, we do a considerably shorter show called the Xbox Drive. I do it with my friend Ryan Turford. I record
Considerably
in my
better
car.
show. Great show.
I don't know about that. No,
Best
I don't know.
Xbox show on the internet, Sean.
That's my line about this show, and everybody knows it. Sad to see this one go, but yeah, I do the Xbox Drive. So if anything I've made that I've said tonight has made any sense, it's a pretty silly show. It's a little bit different, but I really like doing the Xbox Drive, and we've got lots of Xbox to talk about. Like, this is quite. If I'm going to be honest, Donnie, this is quite an interesting time for you to get out of the Xbox game. There's Halo coming up. You're quitting an Xbox podcast months before Halo comes out.
Yeah.
What an idiot!
That's probably, but that's probably spot on for me. If you've heard me talk about Halo for many years, it's
I'm only kidding.
I'm getting out of the game right on time.
Well, even Forza, but yeah, no, I can't wait to hear the new show. I'm subscribed to play some video games already. Patron, all those things. So people should join me really to do that.
Do you get like a little sense of a little rush or like a little giddy, just like that little like excited kind of shake every time you hear Forza?
Yes.
Like every time Elaine or you or I'm listening to somebody and they're like, and Forza's coming out, and I'm like, like I just imagine I see like I'm not sure if you've seen like we've seen some of the Twitter folks, they've gotten I guess early hands-on impressions of something, and they're like, here's 50 seconds of what Forza looks like, and they're just driving. I'm just like,
and it's just bonkers, and it's a GIF. It's like these really compressed images.
And it looks just amazing.
Looks really good. Yeah.
Forza
yeah. No, I was the same with
good.
4. It's getting dangerous. Actually, my hype level's getting a little dangerous.
Yeah.
Because I was a little disappointed with 4.
I was just saying. I was probably just about to say the same thing. It is getting. I'm at dangerous hype levels with Forza.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm just like I'm expecting the moon of this. Everything that they showed at E3 and since just looks incredible. It's so much better than I would have expected. Like I remember, I love that Forza, like this Forza Horizon, I talked about it on our show, which I'm sure you listen to, so I'm talking specifically to you. But if our listeners don't know, a year ago, before we ever had Jeff Grubb on, I had a conversation with Elaine, and we kept talking about how this year, 2021, looked light on the calendar.
Yeah.
And I said to her, I think there's a Forza Horizon in there. And I think her immediate response to me was, there can't be. Forza Motorsport has to be next. And I was like, no, I don't think so. I think they're rebuilding Forza Motorsport, and they're going to like reskin Forza is what I said. And I even toned it down. I was like, they're going to take Forza 4, they're going to reskin it. It might be smaller than we expect, and they'll just get it out to have something out, because like it was a light year. You've got to do something. You can't just not do anything. And we had like this whole conversation how it wasn't possible. And
I would have said the same thing. I would have been right with Elaine. Like, where are you getting this?
I think that's the
from?
smart money. I'm not gloating at this point. I think that was the smart machine. Everything she spoke was wisdom. She was so wise.
Because it was pattern is historical. But the thing that I don't even know if you realized that you were on this, was that in the past you launched a console with a really shiny, chic looking racing game. But what has flipped, or maybe there is a discovery that's happened since Forza Horizon 3, and now with 4, is that that's the popular one.
Yeah.
That's the one that actually people want. And so for that to come next actually makes a lot of sense, instead of just giving you the regular rotation. It's, people like this Horizon thing. Let's do that one next. So it actually, you were onto that whether you knew it or not. It actually is the smarter move for them to do it that way.
Well, I was stunned when we had Jeff on, and he was like, yeah, I think they have Forza Horizon. I was like,
yeah.
And I love that. Talk about favorite episodes as we get here to close the series. I love that episode because we have Jeff on. He's talking. He's announcing this game that nobody knows.
Yeah.
I am looking dead at Elaine, and she's looking dead at me, and we're having our own nonverbal cue conversation. Like, she puts her head in her hands because she knows that I just said that, and I'm like so happy. I'm like, see.
Right, and it's not like me coming on the show going, there's a Horizon. Like Jeff Grubb,
Jeff knows.
is the dude. Like,
Jeff knows. He is the dude. And I only bring up that story to say this. For all the expectations that I put on the game, what they've shown blows it out of the water. You're talking like, I was expecting Forza 5 to be like, it's going to be like Forza 4, get some different stuff. Same map, same cars,
Yeah.
And it's not that at all. The map's
Mm-hmm.
infinitely bigger. There's infinitely more cars. We got doing stuff over here. There's dodgeball. There's llamas. Like, it's so crazy.
There's llamas.
It's just like like our pets' heads are falling off. Like, they threw so much into the game that it blew me away. Like, we're watching that trailer. They all spin up on that volcano, and I'm just like, could there be a more excitable, like, hyped Forza game?
You have that realization that there's power in these new consoles that we bought. And it's like, oh yeah, teraflops. Like, it actually, now we're gonna see it to start to happen. Like, we've had Xbox One and Xbox One X in our minds of like, that's what games look like, and arguably maybe even the first year of games hasn't been like totally blow your hair back. But I think Forza Horizon 5 could be that one. And to be honest with you, like, the only thing I think that I need out of Forza Horizon 5 is the soundtrack. That's got to hit. And I feel like that was one of the things that was kind of missing for me in 4. Was 3 soundtrack. Hadn't. I think and maybe just 3 is just an unbeatable bar. You can't, like, I don't know, for whatever reason it was just right time, right, like,
are
Australia
you
was amazing
expecting
too.
Forza Horizon 5 to beat 3? Because I am. Like, that is my expectation.
I hope so. Yeah, I think
my expectation, rightly or wrongly, my expectation today is my expectation of Forza Horizon 5, based on what I've seen compared to what I've seen from other games. My expectation is probably that Forza Horizon 5 is maybe my game of the year, and it's my favorite Forza game ever.
Now, you and I are different on this. We close the show now. This is part 2, apparently.
Yeah, you're right.
This is like the after hours.
Tangent.
You do a lot of like single player stuff. I really enjoy. We do Halo Saturdays, twitch.tv/Sean Capri. This Saturday it's coming back. I like playing with the community quite a lot, and I did find a little bit with the Forza Horizon series, it can be a little bit cumbersome. I was always a little bit like unsure, as like, are we playing together? Like, what are we doing? Like, I'd like that to be really streamlined. I want to have a bit of a convoy and that to be a really good experience,
Sean,
like I expect with the Xbox games.
I am infinitely more hyped for Forza Horizon 5 than Halo.
Yeah, well, sorry, I'm saying that about Forza. I want a good multiplayer experience in Forza.
I know that. I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah, I knew
like,
that. I know
Halo's
that.
not even.
I know that.
Even on my radar when it comes to that. Like, I am so.
I know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Very excited. So yeah.
Yep.
If anything, this Xbox gamer should have started a Forza podcast. We should have done that.
Nice. Yeah, probably
New
could,
Horizons,
honestly.
a Forza podcast.
All of those games, they have so much life afterwards, and it's funny that we do this show, and we did the same thing on the Xbox Drive as well, where like they have new content for the Halo Master Chief Collection. It's another season that started, and it's like we didn't cover it on any shows. It's like, but there's a whole other world out there. There's people who play these games ongoing, and they get excited for the new drops, and there's just different communities, different niches within the Xbox.
What season is Gears on? They've had so many damn seasons.
Yeah, the operations. Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway. I'm very, very excited for Forza.
I was starting to get outclassed a lot in Gears. That really ruined it for me. Oh, big time.
Bad-Bit was killing you guys.
He's
really
that's just
good at the shooters.
Yeah.
Give him a lot of credit. He really is. I watched him play Halo, and he jumped off the balcony, turned around in midair, like while he's falling. He jumped off in midair, spun 180 degrees, looked down scope, shot you in the head, and before he landed, killed somebody else with a grenade, and then ran off like it was normal. I'm just like, God, he's so damn good. This is probably why I'm not into multiplayer, Sean. I'm not like 10% that good.
Yeah, nobody wants to get beat that bad all the time.
I always have fun when I play. Like, I kill people. Like, I played the Infinite Beta. I killed folks. I killed some of the bots. I had some kills.
Gears is Operation 8 right now, which is just wild. Yeah.
It's
good looking game. Gears 4 is another. Speaking of the question from an hour and a half ago. Gears 4. I haven't gotten back into it, but you have me like really wanting.
I've been replaying it.
That's why
I played a chapter today.
Yeah.
I don't always bring it up every week, but yeah, I've been replaying and I've been kind of going.
Hive Busters was really good. People forgot about Hive Busters.
Gears 4 I feel like a lot longer than 5, campaign wise. I feel like
it's different. I mean, if Gears 5 opened it up, they went open world and everything, and Gears 4 is pretty traditional on that front.
Yeah. Hive Busters. Hive Busters really good.
Yep.
This year too. Was it January or was it December?
I think it was last year. I think it was holiday last year. Yeah.
All right. For the second time, I'm actually going to close the show this time. That's it for Sean Capri and the Xbox Drive and myself. We thank you for listening. We'll catch you next week. Go play some video games.